Burgess reports on another life claimed Thursday.
A 3-year-old child died from injuries received in the January 9th fire on Elwyn Drive. A 15-month-old baby and adult man also died earlier this month from their injuries. 2 other boys were hurt in the fire.
That brings our total, I believe, of 5 in the IFD service district very early in the year. And so that is, heart-wrenching for us as a department because certainly we think 1 is too many.
Indianapolis Fire Battalion Chief Rita Wright says if you have any info you think could be helpful, call IFD or Indy Metro Police. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
1 man was found shot and killed on the east side this morning off Whitfield Street, which is just south of Post Road and 38th Street. Police say several homes in the area had also been hit by bullets. The victim was ID'd as 23-year-old Jalen Smith. The shooting is being investigated as a homicide. If you think your electric bill is too high, Patrick Reagan with Crossroads Solar in South Bend says you're probably right.
From my vantage point, our legislatures are either enamored with or beholden to the utility industries. That needs to change.
He says he could hire a lot more people if legislators in Indiana would have better policies with solar power and alternative energy. Reagan met with legislators at the State House Thursday. Most of the heavy, wet snow is out of the way by now. You'll just have to deal with an occasional flurry moving forward.
And they may accumulate a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's going to be significant accumulations. In this case, we're thinking maybe a half-inch in some locations of additional snow accumulation. Not enough to cause significant problems.
Forecaster Randy Bauer says the biggest concern tonight is black ice. It could cause some slick spots on the road, so be safe. You're paying an average of $3.36 a gallon for gas today, says GasBuddy.com. That's down 4 cents from where the average was this time last week. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Selling homes in today's market is tougher, but the outlook is improving. Interest rates have lowered and homes are selling. If you've been on the sidelines, now may be the time to sell. Talk to the agent I trust and recommend, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want to maximize your equity now while you still can. Mark Dietel guarantees an offer on your home in 3 days or it's listed for free. Get maximum convenience and maximum sales price. Listen to what Mike and Loretta in Mooresville had to say about working with Mark Dietel. Our kids were grown and moved out, and we wanted to downsize and move closer to our grandkids. We were worried our timing was bad, but with Mark Dietel, it was easy. With relentless marketing, we had a buyer in just a few weeks at the price we needed. Call the agent I trust and recommend for the details. Mark Dietel guarantees an offer in 3 days for full market value, or it's listed for free. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com.
With traffic on the 5s at 3:05, here's Matt Bear.
Harrison, big time slowdown up in Lebanon right now at southbound 65 between the Clinton-Boone County line and State Road 47. That is stop and go right now. Also, eastbound 70 a little slow out in Hancock County after Mount Comfort Road. Traffic sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving for victims of drunk and drug driving. Your grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP. or visit mad.org. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A few early flurries this evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll see lows fall close to 20. Mostly cloudy on Friday. A scattered rain or snow shower possible. It's going to be breezy with highs into the mid and upper 30s. I'm Wish TV. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
Hammer, I'm just curious about these classified documents found in Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, Biden's different houses, now Mike Pence's house in Carmel, as Tucker Carlson called it. Do these documents actually say the word classified on them? Like, is it like in the movies where it's like a red stamp in block letters that says classified? Or is it like just maybe just at the end of, at the end of the paper, hey, in parentheses, by the way, this is a classified document?
I think they do say classified on the front. Like on the cover page, like if you're doing a report, you need to know that it's classified material.
So that leads me to my next question. If they say classified, if it's clearly marked classified, whether it be on the box that it's in or the folder that it's in, how do you not know that you can't take it home with you?
Maybe there wasn't a cover to the report. Maybe it was just implied. I don't know. I've never had classified documents, so I don't know.
Is there somebody at the White House with a big stamp, a pad with a red stamp, and they just stamp it classified?
Probably.
I mean, just like in the movies.
Right. I would imagine so.
So we found, Biden has about 12 classified documents that were at least marked classified that they found in his house, right?
Mike Pence does. Mike Pence has 12. You said Trump, then Biden. You're not wrong. I mean, everybody seems like they've got classified documents at this point. But 12 documents were found in the Pence home. And it sounds like, and we knew this, a lot of it's a nothing burger. A lot of it was from like the State Department briefing then Vice President Pence about what he should know before he heads on a trip overseas or something. So there's a little report about wherever he would travel overseas, all the information's there. One source says to CNN that some of the classified documents were used to prepare Mike Pence for meetings with foreign dignitaries while he was the vice president, and he may have overlooked this during the packing process and just threw them into an old binder.
Did you think that he would know that the vice president is not allowed to take classified documents home with him?
Well, according to that same source, the classified briefing materials would not have been visible unless packers were going through the binders page by page. So to your point at the beginning of the segment here, maybe there wasn't some big front page and a big stamp that said classified. But a bigger question here, why are people going through his stuff page by page? Didn't Pence request somebody to do this? What a horrible job.
Yeah, sounds pretty boring to me. But we go back to the audio. We'd have to play it again of Pence being interviewed by that, who was it, David Muir from ABC?
Right.
Did you bring any classified documents with you? No. It wasn't like a very convincing no, I didn't.
Right.
And that interview was like late last year, I believe, when Trump was going through the controversy.
And now it's coming back to bite him.
I mean, I guess it's biting him. It's biting Biden, but it's not. The thing is, it's a lifeline to Biden. Look, everybody's done it now. Trump's done it. Biden's done it. I've done it. And it's not going to be the backbreaker for his campaign, for Biden's 2024 campaign that everybody thought it was going to be. Because, look, everybody does it. Now, he wasn't very quick to say that when Trump was being accused of all this stuff. When Trump was going through all this.
Right.
Biden wasn't very quick to be like, well, we all do it. He's called it irresponsible. And then it turns around and he's got classified documents next to his vet.
In the garage, and we've seen video after video of where his crackhead son has got the garage open. He's taking the car out. He's going around the neighborhood looking for chicks, looking for drugs. I don't know what he's looking for, but we've seen video of him taking off and leaving the garage door open.
And what do you think Hunter Biden has at his residence, wherever he's staying now? Damn well better be sure there's no classified documents at his place. I mean, he left his damn laptop with a lot of information on it at a computer store and never went and got it.
The Bidens are really bad at this.
Yeah, I know.
They're bad at hiding secret stuff. It's almost, now hear me out, it's almost like they're idiots.
Almost.
Come
on, let's not go too far.
Just over 2 years after having his account suspended, Donald Trump will be allowed to go back onto Facebook. Meta, which is the parent company, announced that in the coming weeks, they will roll out Donald Trump's account once again. Yeah. The president of global affairs, Nick Clegg, says, quote, "The risk to public safety is now subsided, and we can give Trump his account back." Like him having a Facebook account meant like all of a sudden the whole world was going to be just hellfire and brimstone. A Facebook account. Get over yourselves.
Well, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when the request was put into Meta to get his account back. He's got to have it for the campaign. Trump has to have it for his 2024 campaign. I can't wait to see what he posts first. I can't wait to see what his first Twitter post.
I hope it's Meta sucks. Let's just see how this goes. Meta sucks. Trump out.
Zuckerberg's a weasel.
Speaking of Trump, he went on his social media platform, Truth Social, and shared his thoughts on Ukraine. Quote, "First come the tanks, then come the nukes. Get this crazy war ended now. So easy to do."
The leap from tanks to nukes is a pretty big one, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. I mean, I don't think anything is off the table at this point with Russia being backed into a corner, not doing so well in parts of Ukraine. If they feel like their backs are against the wall and they're going to be defeated, Putin's liable to launch a few nukes over there. And then what happens then? Do we launch nukes back? Does it become a global thing? Is it World War III? So while I think, I just think the red line keeps getting pushed back and back, especially when it comes to the United States and our policies. First, we were like, we're not going to give you any Stinger missiles. Then they give them Stinger missiles. Well, no, when there's no way you're getting these tanks. Okay, you can have 31 of them. What's next? Soldiers, boots on the ground?
And why is Donald Trump the only vocal leader? And I know he's not a president anymore, but he's a former president. Why is he the only one saying end this war? You got people like Graham Nasty over there saying keep it going, give that United States tax money right here to Zelensky, keep it rolling, Republicans and Democrats. Why is Trump one of the only people saying end this thing? Stop spending our money. Stop having lives ruined in this thing. It would be easy to do. That shouldn't be a controversial take. One more thing on Trump here before we hit a break. Did you see the story that Marjorie Taylor Greene is lining up to try to be Donald Trump's running mate for this upcoming election season? MTG.
She's a lightning rod for sure. She's controversial, had a lot of things to say, definitely pro-MAGA, pro-Trump. I don't know that would be a good match. I think probably maybe somebody, definitely not Mike Pence, but Mike Pence-ish, that would bring a little more, calmness, reliability to the campaign. Like, Kristi Noem or somebody like
Tim
that. Tim Scott, yeah, exactly.
Maybe his plan is to have her help him win Georgia, but does she move the needle that much in Georgia? See, I don't think she does. The popular politician in that state is, Brian, I got a big trunk Kemp, and there's no way in hell Donald Trump's going to work with that guy. Speaking of MTG, she went on with Tucker, I think this was last night, might have been 2 nights ago, and she's drafting legislation right now to declare Antifa a domestic terrorist group. Okay. Now, keep in mind, this past weekend, Antifa just went on a rioting storm in Atlanta, in Georgia, the home state of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
America's sick and tired of Antifa. Look at what they've done over years now. Just from 2020, they're responsible for nearly $2 billion in damage and many people dead. But the war is against the police, and the reason why is because Antifa is the ground troops of the Democrat Party. Not only are they the ground troops, they breed them, they raise them, and then they bail them out of jail, but they never get prosecuted. And that's because, well, we know the truth. It's the Democrats in control. And it's the establishment and it's the unelected bureaucrats that make no apologies for their support of Antifa. Well, it's time to do something about Antifa, and that's why I'm going to introduce legislation to declare Antifa domestic terrorist. We need to investigate exactly who they are, who funds them, and then we need to make sure that whenever they come out and erupt in violence, attacking police officers and attacking businesses in cities like my city, in Atlanta, in Georgia, we need to make sure that they're arrested and charged with domestic terrorism charges, just like the GBI did this past weekend. Enough of Antifa. They are not the anti-fascists. They are the fascists.
You know, if you can designate parents that show up at school board meetings as domestic terrorists, then maybe you could do it with Antifa as well. Just a thought.
And again, I love that idea. I'm here for it. but there's no way that's going to move up the ladder outside of the House of Representatives. The Senate will look at that and go, we love Antifa around here.
Yeah.
Joe Biden doesn't know what Antifa is, but he'll be told to not pay attention to that. So there you go. All right, Matt Baer, what's up?
Southbound 65, stop and go traffic, Boone County, from the county line down to State Road 47. Watch out for the black ice today. It is out there, and I don't want anybody slipping on the bridges, so please be careful on your way home. Traffic sponsored by Compassion International. Families in poverty are facing a global food crisis. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Cold. 28. Got some snow flurries and spots here at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Coming up next, former Colts coach has a new gig, and there was some controversy at a college basketball game last night. We'll break it all down next.
5.5%. Where can you get 5.5% on your money today? You're certainly not going to get it at the bank. And who knows what will happen next with the stock market. But for a limited time, you can get 5.5% guaranteed for 3 years. That's right. You can get 5.5% on your money guaranteed for 3 years. And it's backed by some of the largest, most trusted insurance companies in the world. To learn more, call Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy, at 317-972-9172. This is your chance to lock in a great interest rate before they start falling. Learn how you could get 5.5% on your money guaranteed for 3 years. Call 317-972-9172. 317-972-9172.
So, the other day, I bought an extremely chatty...
Boring story time.
Make that an extremely catty cockatoo.
You're welcome.
Apparently, the pet store won't take it back. But, hey, I'll manage.
I love that for you.
Just like I manage without home internet.
No, you don't.
Sure, my mobile hotspot is slow and makes streaming shows unbearable.
Aw, Bertie likes to stream.
But I'm making do. Oh no, who's this?
My lady friend. It's mating season, duh.
No home internet? It's not that bad. No, not there.
It is that bad. Don't settle. Switch to Xfinity and get one line of unlimited mobile and home internet together for $50 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit your local Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment tax, and fees extra. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of data usage. Offer ends 3/21/23.
Yeah, winter is here. How'd you like driving around in that snowstorm a couple of weeks ago? I didn't like it at all. I don't want to be stuck out in the snow, changing a flat tire, cars zooming by me on the interstate, or maybe even changing a dead battery in the cold. It's why I'm a AAA member. Flat tire, dead battery, run out of gas, lock your keys in your car. I've done it all. AAA is there for me 24/7, 365. Winter does not care where you need to be, but my friends at AAA do. So do yourself a favor. Join AAA today. It's really easy to become a member. It's quick to become a member. I've been a member for years.
Get your AAA membership right now at AAA.com or call 844-GO-AAA-GO. Or you could also stop by your local AAA office. Don't forget, ask about complimentary travel planning and insurance rates, auto, home, and life, because you don't have to be stuck on the side of the road to get assistance from AAA.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career in just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus, and financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for plenty of advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and foundation. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Hey, can you shut the up for 5 seconds?
The Hammer and Nigel Show. 93 WIBC.
Oh, yeah, breaking news. Frank Reich, Colts former head coach that was fired in the middle of the season, has got a new gig.
The Carolina Panthers have announced the hiring of their first ever quarterback, Frank Reich. He took the first ever snaps when they became a team back in 1995, and now he will be taking over the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
So, good guy. Again, I have nothing bad to say about Frank Reich personally, but just because Jeff Saturday has been kind of a disaster here does not mean that it was the wrong decision to fire Frank Reich. Frank had to go. A lot of bad decisions, that horse bleep effort, if you want to call it that, against the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Frank had to go. His time was up here. But as Trump would say when he's talking about someone usually he doesn't like, we wish him the best.
And as our pal Charlie Clifford from Wish TV put it, whomever Carolina's young quarterback will be is now in great hands because he's a quarterback's coach.
Right. And they're going to be in the market for a young quarterback, and so are the Colts. So the Carolina Panthers have their coach. The Colts do not have theirs yet. They've still got more interviews to do. So last night, Twitter started going crazy about this incident that took place in a college basketball game of Loyola Chicago against Duquesne. And there was a moment where the game had to be stopped because some dude in a DoorDash outfit walked across the court trying to make a delivery.
And we got an official's timeout, and somebody came on the floor on the far side. Looking for an Uber Eats delivery or something there? Is carrying some McDonald's.
Oh, this has to be one of the all-time greats.
I'm actually not kidding.
This is the truth.
I think that's what's happening.
This guy's in the corner. Looked like was he going to deliver the McDonald's to somebody on the court? Can we rule that out?
I saw that this morning on SportsCenter. It's hilarious. They had to stop. Did they stop the game, actually? I think they kept playing.
He walked out during the action, and the referee kind of moved him back, and then the other referee said, hold on, stop everything. So people didn't know what was going on.
So is it legit, or is it like a stunt?
It's a stunt. I mean, the assistant athletic director of Loyola tweeted out that it was a stunt.
Okay.
The guy was wearing a microphone, and somebody was rolling video on it. It's some sort of TikTok, YouTube prank guy.
Okay.
So that's what it was. That's what it was. He was acting the whole time.
He's a good actor. Definitely, he looked confused. He's like, I'm looking, he's just looking to deliver some McDonald's to somebody at the game.
Am I the only one that wishes, though, somebody would have tackled him, tased him, and beat the hell out of him? Like, what if one of your kids, Nige, was on that court? It's a college basketball player, and he's playing in the game, and some lunatic walks across the court with a bag of McDonald's.
Hey, you don't know what's in that bag.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He's lucky. Yeah, you're right. You might be lucky. He's lucky that he didn't get, speared.
You can probably only get away with that at one of these smaller schools. Like, I think the security is a little tighter. Like, if you go down to the Big Ten or the ACC, one of those places, I don't think it's that easy just to walk across the floor with a bag of McDonald's during the game. Speaking of college basketball last night, no Mike Woodson. He's got the row.
Oh, no.
IU coach Mike Woodson out with Rona.
Grateful to be vaxxed and boosted, I'm sure.
It would have been way worse if he didn't have his 17 different boosters. But Indiana got the win. They beat Minnesota last night. Trace Jackson Davis is carrying this team. Like, I don't know how many wins this team would have without him. 25 points, 21 boards, had a few blocks too, had the big go-ahead basket at the end. Now, this was my favorite part of the night. I watched this game on the Big Ten Network. I was at home. And after the game was over, the fill-in coach, an IU assistant, his name is Yasir Rosemond, he's talking to the Big Ten Network's reporter. Robbie Hummel, former Purdue star. And Robbie asked the coach about the play of Trace Jackson Davis.
Trace Jackson Davis has played at such a high level, 25 points, 21 rebounds tonight. How impressed have you been? It's got to be every day he impresses you with something different.
I tell people all the time, if you can find 25 to 30 people better than him in his NBA draft, hey, I'll kiss your ass.
He's a wordsmith.
I'll kiss your ass. Is that what he said?
Could you play the end of that, please, James? Just one more time.
What is that? People better than him in his NBA draft, hey, I'll kiss your ass.
He's sticking up for his player because there's a lot of scouts that say Trace Jackson Davis is a really good college player, but his game won't translate to the next level. And his response was, you find me 25-30 better than Trace Jackson Davis, I'll kiss your ass.
Love it. I can't wait for that Purdue game, by the way. Purdue and IU, February 4th.
Purdue's got a good one tonight. Purdue, number 1 in the country, at Michigan tonight. So good luck to the Boilers. Do not go anywhere. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Ooh la la. OMG. Wowza. What will they say when they open your Valentine's Day gift from Shane Company? Visit us today. We have beautiful jewelry crafted by our in-house design team. Unique looks you won't find anywhere else. Like our Toi et Moi necklace. That means you and me in French. This necklace features a natural white sapphire beside a colorful heart-shaped gemstone on a sterling silver chain. It's $175 and it's one of our favorites. Whether you want to spend a little or you want to splurge, at Shane Company we have so many eye-catching styles with hearts. Or surprise your loved one with a gift that features the romantic colors of Valentine's Day, like our jewelry with natural, vibrant pink sapphires, red rubies, or purple amethyst. For more ideas, browse our Valentine's Day gift guide at shaneco.com. Shipping is fast and free. When they open your gift, it'll be love at first sight.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Do you have a wet basement problem? Hi, I'm Mike Smith with Swanco Crawl Space and Basement Repair, Indy's most trusted basement waterproofer. Your basement is a very important part of your home. Whether it's finished or unfinished, there's nothing worse than a wet, unusable basement. Swanco's basement waterproofing will fix your wet, unusable basement permanently and forever. Protect your greatest asset, your home, by waterproofing your basement today. Call the real, local, family-owned waterproofing experts at Swanco Crawl Space and Basement Repair, 317-407-1868 or SwancoLLC.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The fire claimed another life. Cloudy and 27 degrees in downtown Indy with a clear radar. The low drops below 20 tonight. It'll hover around 18. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:30. A 3-year-old child died Thursday morning from their injuries they got during a fire on Elwyn Drive back on January 9th. Indianapolis Fire Battalion Chief Rita Reich says investigators do not have a cause.
Investigators are still actively working this incident. They're just, still gathering information, talking to people, still working with the tenant's insurance company and the apartment complex. That's all part of how an investigation works.
A 15-month-old baby and adult also died from that fire. Wright says you should check all smoke alarms and any appliances you may use to keep the house warm, just to be safe. The 5 former Memphis police officers involved in the violent arrest of Tyree Nichols are facing murder charges. Nichols died at the hospital after a traffic stop January 7th. Steve Mulroy, the county district attorney, called the event a tragedy and said the officers face several charges, including second-degree murder. President Joe Biden is in Springfield, Virginia today, talking about his economic achievements, saying inflation has been going down the past 6 months.
And I ran for president, my word, to build the economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Because when you do that, the poor have a chance to climb up a ladder. The middle class do well, and the wealthy still do very well.
Biden also warned about policies from far-right Republicans during a speech today. You may see a few light snow flurries, says forecaster Randy Bowers. It's not going to be much, but with temperatures dropping into the teens, it could create a problem with black ice.
We would be concerned about some areas there could be some black ice tonight. The temperatures, when we're around 31, 32, we're at freezing or barely below freezing. It's usually not too big of a deal.
You should have a high in the 40s and near 50 by Saturday. That drops right back to the 20s and 30s by early next week. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:32.
Selling homes in today's market is tougher, but the outlook is improving. Interest rates have lowered and homes are selling. If you've been on the sidelines, now may be the time to sell. Talk to the agent I trust and recommend, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want to maximize your equity now while you still can. Mark Dietel guarantees an offer on your home in 3 days or it's listed for free. Get maximum convenience and maximum sales price. Listen to what Mike and Loretta in Mooresville had to say about working with Mark Dietel. Our kids were grown and moved out, and we wanted to downsize and move closer to our grandkids. We were worried our timing was bad, but with Mark Dietel, it was easy. With relentless marketing, we had a buyer in just a few weeks at the price we needed. Call the agent I trust and recommend for the details. Mark Dietel guarantees an offer in 3 days for full market value, or it's listed for free. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com.
With traffic at 333, what's going on, Matt Bear?
Hancock County, a bit of a slowdown on eastbound 70 after Mount Comfort Road. It goes on for a couple of miles. Inbound 65, slow roll out of West Street to the North Split. And southbound 65 up in the Pike, slowing down before 465. It's not too bad at the moment, but there is a little bit of a drag. Traffic sponsored by Indy Decorative Concrete. Imagine the possibilities of getting the backyard of your dreams. Expand your living space with an Indy Decorative Concrete patio. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts changing the way Indy thinks about concrete. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A few early flurries this evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll see lows fall close to 20. Mostly cloudy on Friday. A scattered rain or snow shower possible. It's going to be breezy with highs into the mid and upper 30s. I'm Wish TV. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
I can't stand it anymore. It's getting worse.
93 WIBC.
Hit me!
Love all the liberal tears that are just flowing after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy yanked Fartwell and Pencil Neck off the Intel Committee. There's been some response, right?
Well, yeah, we've heard from one half of the duo. Again, the names in question are Eric Swalwell.
The president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
And Adam Schiff.
Little pencil neck Adam Schiff.
So Schiff went to TikTok after being removed from the Intelligence Committee to do his bitching and moaning.
Hello, I'm Congressman Adam Schiff with some troubling news. Today, Kevin McCarthy removed me from the House Intelligence Committee, all for doing my job, for holding Trump accountable and standing up to the extreme MAGA Republicans. We knew it would be bad when the Republicans took over, but it's far worse than we expected.
Okay.
But I can promise you this is not the end of my fight for our democracy. This is just the beginning. Please join us and contribute today. Thank you.
Drama queen.
It's been a couple of weeks. It's only been a couple of weeks. It's been far worse than anticipated. And does anybody else think it's kind of a weird flex for a guy that says he deserves to be on the Intel Committee? And then he goes on the Chinese spyware bot that is TikTok to make his case? Maybe that's why you and Fartwell aren't on the Intel Committee right now.
You used your position on that committee to constantly lie to the American public about Russian collusion and evidence, and you lied about the Hunter Biden laptop, lie after lie after lie. You used that position to go after Trump politically. There was no evidence whatsoever of Trump and Russian collusion, even though you told the American people day after day that you had the evidence locked away, probably next to some other classified documents in your footlocker.
The Twitter files show he was told, hey, there's nothing here, and he kept going and tried to censor others on social media. So yeah, keep crying on TikTok. And by the way, did you catch the end of that? He was asking for a donation. He is now fundraising despite just winning his House election because he has announced he's going to be running for Senate in California. He's going to try to steal Feinstein's seat.
Yeah.
So kind of pulling a Jim Banks right there. You know, you're known in the House, you got a little clout, but the ceiling is there. So next step, Senate.
You imagine Feinstein running again?
She's 89.
Good Lord. Nobody's seen or heard from her. She's just these people, there's an age limit. You can't be older than 65 to 67 years old to fly a plane, but hell, you could be 98 and run the country.
Right. That's a problem. Term limits need to happen,
yes.
But there's no way these people are going to agree to that, because then they'd have to actually get jobs afterwards.
No way.
They'd have to get real jobs. Let's play a round of Is It Racist, shall we?
It's time to play Is It Racist?
Now, for those of you who are new to the Hammer and Nigel show, first of all, thank you for tuning in. Here's how we play Is It Racist? AOC, here are the rules.
Is it racist? Is something racist, yes or no?
So apparently college professors are teaching students that the term American citizen is a radicalized term, and it's associated with whiteness because America was built on white supremacy. And we know this because there's a viral video going around of this college student, some chick, talking about the lecture that she just heard in her class.
I just got out of a lecture and my professor said something that really struck me that I feel like should have been super obvious that I just had not connected the dots on before. And that is the fact that the term American citizen is a racialized term. It's associated with whiteness, whether we want it to or not, because of the way that white supremacy is so intricately bound with the foundation of the country that we call America, that when you hear the word American citizen, the first thing that comes to mind is a white person. And what's crazy is I have this super vivid memory when I was only maybe 5 or 6 years old. My mom was just about to get her citizenship and she was like, yo, I'm going to be an American citizen. And I was freaking out because I fully thought that my mother was going to turn into a white woman.
You're a moron. You are a moron.
This is what kids are being taught?
Yes. There's a lot to unpack there, I know. But the $1 million question, if I say, hey, you look like an American citizen, is it racist?
No, that is not racist. And the claim that this was founded on this country is founded on white supremacy also is false.
And I think it's kind of racist on her behalf to say just because you're an American citizen, you have to be white.
Yeah,
I think maybe she's the racist.
That. But here's the thing. Okay, I don't know what context this was in. I don't know if this is a real thing. I'm sure some college professor somewhere said those words, but how many people really believe that? How many rational, normal, independent human beings would look at that and say, oh, yeah, she has a point. American citizen is a radicalized term and it's associated with white supremacy. No, I just don't think there's that many because it's such an echo chamber on social media. It makes it seem like it's more prevalent than it really is. I'm not saying these things aren't taught in school. They certainly are. But how many people would seriously look at something like that and say, oh, she has a point?
Nigel, we live in a country where Don Lemon has a morning show. So you can't rule out stupid people spreading their views to the masses. And this brings us to our next Is It Racist story. So Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, he has banned books in the classroom that were titled African American Studies. However, once you get deep into the weeds here, that African American Studies book had sexual aspects involved in the classroom. And that's why Ron DeSantis was like, no, you can't hide sex stuff in a book and call it African American Studies.
This course on Black history, what's one of the lessons about? Queer theory. Now, who would say that an important part of Black history is queer theory? That is somebody pushing an agenda on our kids. And so when you look to see they have stuff about intersectionality, abolishing prisons, that's a political agenda. And so that's the wrong side of the line for Florida standards. We believe in teaching kids facts and how to think, but we don't believe they should have an agenda imposed on them. When you try to use Black history to shoehorn in queer theory, you are clearly trying to use that for political purposes.
Yeah, they're hiding behind the African American Studies moniker of this program to really push a political agenda behind it. And that's what he's saying. But because they call it African American Studies, they're now being painted as racist.
Correct.
When it really has nothing to do with that.
Imagine if you're somebody that's really interested in African American studies. You're curious about, how black people have, been perceived in this country and the accomplishments and all things like that. You sign up for this class. Next thing you know, they're teaching you queer theory. Well, this brings us to Don Lemon. CNN's Don Lemon. Mm-hmm. He is so upset that queer theory can't be taught to children that he says Florida is like the 1950s.
What are we doing here? I mean, I feel like we're going back. I feel like I'm watching a bad version of like Pleasantville where I don't get what's happening. It feels like the 1950s all over again with like book banning. This is cancel culture from people who are, I guess they just want our kids to be ignorant and to control the teachers. This is outrageous. I really don't even know how to explain what's going on here. It's just ridiculous.
God, no wonder his ratings are abysmal.
You mean people are tuning in droves to hear Don Lemon's thoughts that your children should have to hear queer theory in the classroom?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. It's the idea of the Don't Say Gay bill, which was completely false and that never was about not saying gay in schools. It was about parents' rights and indoctrinating kids sexually, grooming them. And being taught, gender affirming stuff at a certain age. It had nothing to do with Don't Say Gay. Again, African American Studies is just, they're hiding behind that political agenda.
Right.
There's a definite political agenda involved with that. And he doesn't want that in the schools. Quite frankly, I don't want my kids to be taught something with a political narrative in a school. I want them to be taught African American Studies, but just nothing with a political agenda.
And I certainly don't want the kids to have to deal with queer theory. And it's not because it's a gay thing. I'd say the same thing if it were straight. Kids in a classroom, and I'm talking about the younger kids, They shouldn't have Madonna's sex book. They don't need Tommy Lee's documentaries. They don't need this queer theory. Teach them history. Teach them math. That's what you guys are there for. Now, when these kids get to high school and they want to take a class, sex ed, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. But if sex ed exists, maybe you can touch on some of these things. But don't try to hide pushing your narrative about queer theory and defunding the police and abolishing prisons and trying to hide it in everyday learning. That's ridiculous. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Every small business owner knows business happens everywhere. The office, the warehouse, or on the road. And no matter where it takes you, there's one solution to help your business thrive. Comcast Business Complete Connectivity. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network with advanced gig speed Wi-Fi and cyber threat protection in one solution. Plus, add Comcast Business Mobile and you can save up to 60% a year on your wireless bill. Get started for just $40 a month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. And ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card.
Flight 291 is now boarding.
Yep, you're going places. And when you get there, be ready to do business. The complete connectivity solution from the company that powers more small businesses than any other provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New 100 megabits per second internet and Comcast Business Security Edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Gig internet required for gig Wi-Fi. Mobile savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
Mark Dietl is the only real estate agent I trust to sell my home. How about Judy in Greenfield? She was moving out of town, had a problem. She needed to sell her house fast. And she also needed all the equity for her new place. So she needed a great price and needed it quick. She heard about Mark Dietl on our show, and his team went above and beyond to market Judy's home like crazy. Home sold in 9 days at list price.
The best in the business is Mark Dietl. Why? Because he offers you the guarantee. Mark Dietl guarantees an offer in 3 days at full market value, or he will list it for free. That is the Mark Dietl guarantee. Call him right now, 317-755-4232 or go online to markdeedle.com. That's Mark, Dietel, markdeedle.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
We set out to be the very best of the best, and the past couple years we've actually achieved that. For all of the state of Indiana, we've been awarded the Dealer of the Year award twice now. Unlike other brands, that only gets handed to one dealer every year, and we're very proud to have won that twice.
Put the best to work for you at FamilyHVAC.net. Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Love. It makes us do crazy things, like being the first one to say, I love you, or adopting a cat together when you're more of a dog person. Celebrate the madness of love with the perfect Valentine's gift from Helzberg Diamonds. Right now, half-carat diamond heart pendants in your choice of white, yellow, or rose gold are just $399.99, a savings of $500. Show her you're smitten with the gift of gorgeous jewelry at our best prices of the season. Hurry, Valentine's Day is Tuesday, February 14th. Shop at Helzberg.com or visit a store near you.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk, presented by Technology Recyclers, certified electronics recycling. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
A B-Window $2,000 energy-saving credit plus federal tax credit and sale prices on windows, siding, and doors. No payments and no interest for 22 months.
Matt Bear, what's going on?
A little bit of a slowdown coming into downtown on about 65. Tied from West Street to the North Split. South side delayed. Eastbound 465 after Kentucky Avenue over to Harding Street. On your way home, be careful. The bridges could have some ice on them, and they could cause you problems. Traffic sponsored by B-Window. Now get a $2,000 energy-saving credit and federal tax credit to B-Window. Plus sale prices on windows, siding, and doors with 22 months, no interest or payments. BWindow.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Right now, 28 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
All right, boys, let's go do this. Loud and proud.
93 WIBC.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there. If you need a reason to pour a cocktail tonight, pour one for Eddie Van Halen. The late guitar player would have been 68 years old today.
Again, I know Rob had talked about this a little bit on his show. I think it was last week. If you're doing the Mount Rushmore thing of guitarists, he's on the list. He's on the Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen.
No question.
So did you ever hear the story that Eddie Van Halen reached out to Daryl Hall of Hall & Oates? This was right after David Lee Roth had left the band and before they brought in Sammy Hagar. There was chatter that Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates could be the front man of Van Halen.
Yeah. I knew those guys really well. We actually shared some crew and things like that. And Eddie came to a show with Valerie. This just goes back. And David had just left the band, and Eddie said, "You want to join Van Halen, man?" And I was like, he was half joking, but I think he was serious. I really do believe he was serious. I took it seriously. I went, I think not. I think I got my own going on.
Could you imagine
Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates?
Yeah, could you imagine that?
And him having to tell Oates, "Hey, I'm leaving our gig and going to be the lead singer of Van Halen." No, I don't think that would have worked.
I mean, they brought in that one turd from Extreme, Gary Cherone.
Gary Cherone. I like Gary Cherone. I like Extreme, but I don't think he really worked as the lead singer for Van Halen.
Right. I like Babyface, but he wouldn't work as the lead singer of Van Halen
you
either.
You don't know that.
I'd kind of like to hear that, to be honest with you. So, yeah, Eddie Van Halen would have been 68 today. So we like mashups on this show. So, Nige, I found 3 Van Halen mashups of their hit Jump. And I want you to tell me which one of these is your favorite, okay? The first one, somebody mashed Jump with Elvis Presley's Burning Love. That do anything for you?
That was awful.
All right, this one might be more in your wheelhouse. Somebody mashed up Van Halen's Jump with Thunderstruck from AC/DC.
Ooh.
kicking in here.
I can hear it. I can hear the thunder.
All right, here we go.
This is much better than Elvis.
I kind of like that one, actually. All right.
That was so much better than Elvis.
Now, this one's my favorite. And I don't care what you say, and I don't care what our producer James has to say. This is by far my favorite. Someone mashed up Van Halen's Jump with the classic country song by Hank Williams, Your Cheating Heart. This is my favorite one.
Nothing gets me down. You got it tough. I seen the toughest around. And I know, baby, just how you feel.
I love this song.
You got to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
Get to what's real.
All right, here we go.
Can't you see me standing here? I got my back against the record machine.
Listen to string guitar. All right, which of those do you like the most?
Oh God, that's a close one for me. I'm with you. The Cheating Heart mashup is the best. I still am an ardent Van Hagar fan. I like it when I loved it when Sammy was with the band more than I did with David Lee Roth. I mean, look, Van Halen sold. They sold more records and had their only number one hit with Roth, but they had 9 top 40 hits with Sammy Hagar compared to just 7 with David Lee Roth. So
I'm not saying I didn't like Sammy. Sammy had some bangers with Van Halen. He really did. But for me, it's the Colts comparison. Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck was good, and he certainly had his moments, but he wasn't Peyton. And for me, David Lee Roth is the Peyton of Van Halen.
I loved 5150. Why Can't This Be Love? Dreams, Best of Both Worlds. Love Walks In.
All great songs.
OU 812 was a great album. I think, When It's Love was one of their biggest hits ever. Finish What You Started.
But I'm going Panama and Jump and Pretty Woman, Eruption, a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm going to the David Lee Roth
Right
era.
Now, Top of the World with Hagar, Pound Cake, Run Around. Love the song Run Around. That's an underrated one.
So if you need another reason to have a beverage tonight, can I get some mood music, please?
Oh.
Speaking of country songs like we were earlier, 44 years ago today, on this very date in 1979, the Dukes of Hazzard premiered on CBS.
Loved it.
John Schneider, Tom Wopat, and Catherine Bach as Daisy Duke.
I lived for the Dukes when I was a kid. Growing up, I'd get so mad if it was on a school night. My parents made me go to bed because I have to stop watching it. And what I want to do now is, like my 11-year-old Connor, he and I are going through our second round of watching Little House on the Prairie. The series.
All right.
We did it like in 2020. We watched the entire season for a couple of months. We're on our second round again. After he loves all that old time stuff. My second show that I wanted to introduce him to after Little House is Dukes of Hazzard. Great action, great comedy, great stunt driving.
Right? I noticed the stunt driving now because of our friend Brian Baker, who does that for a living. It used to be, when I was growing up, it was on Friday nights. And it was a little something for everybody. Dukes of Hazzard, like for the kids, and then Dallas would come on right afterwards. So I was staying at my grandma's house, so I would watch the Dukes of Hazzard. And then, I was in the room when Dallas was on, and I'll be damned if I didn't become a fan of Dallas, too.
I also loved, there's a couple others that had the anniversary this week that premiered. Airwolf.
I remember Airwolf.
I think I retweeted that on our Facebook page, the the helicopter, the military.
Yes.
It was like the Knight Rider for helicopters.
Right. That's
Almost.
when like awesome kick-ass vehicles were like the number one shows.
Yeah.
Knight Rider and things like that.
You remember
Dukes of Hazzard.
You remember Manimal? I was fascinated with Manimal, and I was also fascinated and terrified by V.
I remember V.
The aliens come down, but they're really lizards.
Did you ever watch Small Wonder? About that little girl robot? It was really creepy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you go back and look at the premise of that show right now, this dude
saying this,
who's like got like NASA clearance and, top secret stuff, builds a female robot like a little girl.
Yeah, that's creepy.
And only he can like be around her in the garage.
Did he sniff its hair?
I think we've seen that movie before. Top stories coming up next.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-200-1966. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-200-1966. That's 800-200-1966. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
The Indianapolis Home Show, January 20th through 29th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds and Event Center. 10 days only for great deals, new ideas, and practical advice with trusted local experts. Tour the centerpiece home crafted by custom container builders. Plus, see HGTV stars and twin sisters Leslie Davis and Lindsay Lamb from Unsellable Houses. From kitchens and baths to landscaping and more. Don't miss the Indianapolis Home Show. Save on tickets at IndianapolisHomeshow.com. Discount courtesy of Central Indiana Chevy dealers.
Coming up in 2 minutes, someone else has died in a fire that happened earlier this month. Why your lieutenant governor is focusing on mental health, and a former Colts head coach already has a new job. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. A verdict just in at a New York terror trial on Lisa Brady. The extremist suspect, 34-year-old Sayfullo Saipov, just convicted on all counts, 28 federal crimes, over the attack on a New York City bike path that killed 8 people, injuring 18 others on Halloween in 2017.
His defense lawyers conceded from the beginning that Saipov committed the worst terrorist attack in New York City since 9/11. This trial hinged on why Saipov carried out the deadly attack. Prosecutors charged Saipov with murder and attempted murder for the purpose of joining the terrorist organization ISIS. The defense argued Saipov was motivated by ISIS propaganda, but did not carry out this attack to become a member of ISIS and therefore should be found not guilty.
Fox's Brian Yennis. Saipov used a rented truck to mow down cyclists. He could face the death penalty. 5 fired police officers are in jail, now charged with multiple counts in Memphis, including murder, kidnapping, and official misconduct after a traffic stop confrontation that ended with the beating of Tyree Nichols, who died 3 days later.
We all want the same thing. We want justice for Tyree Nichols.
Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy says he hopes the case will lead to a broader conversation about police reform. David Roush, director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, says this should not have happened.
What happened here does not at all reflect proper policing. This was wrong. This was criminal.
He calls video footage of the beating appalling. It's now expected to be released late tomorrow. The Memphis police chief appealing for peace. The U.S. Africa Command just announcing a successful counterterrorism operation in Somalia, but they're not offering any details yet. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Another life lost. Cloudy, 27 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. Clear on your radar. You've got a low of 28 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. The January 9th fire on Elwyn Drive has taken another life.
So there were 4 children involved in the fire, 14 years old, 12 years old, 3 years old, and 15 months old. This morning we learned that the 3-year-old child passed this morning.
IFD Battalion Chief Rita Reich says a 15-month-old baby and an adult man also died in the fire. IFD says the 12-year-old boy is still recovering at Riley Hospital. The 14-year-old boy has been released. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. Indiana's lieutenant governor testified to lawmakers this morning in support of a bill she has a personal interest in. Kurt Darling reports.
Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch urged state senators to advance Senate Bill 1, a bill to expand mental health services in Indiana by establishing the 988 hotline, a free phone number for someone to call to talk to a counselor if they're struggling with addiction or considering suicide.
My sister Nancy died by suicide in her early 20s. We just buried my brother Larry in November. He was an alcoholic. My husband's father was an alcoholic.
She says lawmakers can't afford to deny the bill. Kirk Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The cost of your utilities could be better regulated by Indiana's legislature. That's the statement from Patrick Reagan. He's the president of Crossroads Solar in South Bend.
So I put the blame not on utility managers who are trying to maximize profit, but the people in the legislature who aren't controlling the excess pursuit of profit.
He says they make you pay what it costs to fund the utility companies or refuse to find an alternative structure for your power. Reagan and other leaders like him met with legislators this afternoon. Former Colts head coach Frank Reich has landed back on his feet after being fired this season. The Carolina Panthers announced today Reich is going to be their new head coach. He played quarterback for the franchise, took their first ever snap, and threw the first Panther touchdown back in 1995. Meanwhile, if you don't want Jeff Saturday hired for the Indianapolis Colts, you can find a petition at change.org that is against Jeff Saturday being the next hire for Indianapolis. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
People here are raving about QC Kinetics and how regenerative medicine has changed their life. People like Helen, an avid mountain climber who got sidelined when an accident left her knees in constant pain.
I was not able to train or do really anything on my knee.
Helen was told surgery would be her only option. But then she found QC Kinetics and was treated with natural biologics designed to repair and restore tissue in her knees. 3 months later, she was climbing the highest mountain in North America.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain. I began treatment in March, and I summited Denali June the 7th. It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Get your life back with lasting results. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05, here's Matt Bear.
Southwest side, slow roll. Eastbound 465 from 70 over to Harding Street. And a bit of a drag coming into downtown right now. Inbound 65 after 21st to the north split. Watch out for ice on your way home. That means bridges, overpasses could have ice on them. We've had a tough time with ice. Well, this morning and yesterday for that matter. Just be careful on your way home, please. Traffic sponsored by Compassion International. Families in poverty are facing a global food crisis. $50 provides a food kit to a family. Food kit feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A few early flurries this evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll see lows fall close to 20. Mostly cloudy on Friday. A scattered rain or snow shower possible. It's going to be breezy with highs into the mid and upper 30s. I'm Wish TV. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
That's Jason Hammer over there. My name is Nigel. Hello. Still no update from the Indiana Supreme Court on that lawsuit for the ACLU challenging Indiana's near total abortion ban. You know, Indiana was the first state to enact legislation to ban abortion after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and the whole Dobbs decision. And I mean, a lot of other states had trigger laws but already in place, but Indy was the first to actually call a special session, even though I believe it originally wasn't the intent of the special session when it was being called.
It was kind of, hell, we're here.
Yeah, we might as well do this. It's worth noting that all 5 state Supreme Court justices who are looking at this lawsuit right now were all appointed by Republican governors. I think there's a couple different aspects to this lawsuit. ACLU is arguing one thing, and the state's arguing something else different. It'll be interesting to see. We have no idea when a decision will come down.
It's really not even life or death in this case. It's about what certain terms mean. Yeah. And when we had Abdul on here last Friday, he said the same thing. I said the same thing. And according to Abdul, he was right and I was wrong. So he's going to be a great mayor for the city of Indianapolis. So full of crap. Speaking of full of crap, last night in her State of the Union address, Michigan's governor, greasy Gretchen Whitmer.
Oh, Whitmer.
The Gretch that stole Christmas. She took a little shot at us here in Indiana. She was talking about abortion and how Michigan loves it. And she kind of took a shot at Indiana and Ohio. And
we love it here in Michigan. Clinics on every corner.
She brought up restrictions.
So together, we're going to change Michigan from a state with century-old bans to forward-looking protections. Our message is simple. We will fight for your freedom. And you know what? Let's go on offense. I'll go to any state that restricts people's freedoms and win business and hardworking people from them. I'm looking at you, Ohio and Indiana.
Worry about your own state and screw you talking about like how you guys are all about freedom.
Right.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly the message she was sending during COVID. It was the complete opposite.
She wanted you to beg to take your boat out on a lake. She wanted you to have to get on a list to get approval to go outdoors on a lake. And then her husband tried to cut the line.
My husband made a failed attempt at humor last week. Knowing it wouldn't make a difference, he jokingly asked if being married to me might move him up in the queue.
No, he wasn't. He was being serious.
Bingo.
And remember, in Michigan, if you had 2 residents, like say one in a rural neighborhood and then also like a cabin on a lake, you weren't allowed to travel from your residence to that cabin in the lake during COVID. Screw you. You are a hypocrite. You loved it. You loved the crushing restrictions that you put on the people in Michigan. I can't believe she got reelected.
And then to sit up there and talk about all the freedoms that they have in Michigan, which are so much better than anything in Ohio or Indiana. People had to drive to other states to dine in at a restaurant. And then when she finally did allow people to dine indoors at a restaurant, there was a limit to the table, which she also ignored.
You know what? I made a mistake. I owned up to it. I recognize it now. It was unintentional. I was with a group of 100% vaccinated people and tables were moved together and I really didn't think about it and I should have. So I apologize for that and hope that when leaders, whether they are office holders or leaders at the local level, or my children for that matter, when you make a mistake, fess up to it and do better. And that's exactly what you do.
You hypocrite.
Yeah, I mean, how long is the list of Democrat leaders that violated their own COVID restrictions during the pandemic? I mean, how long literally is that list? I mean, it's probably a box full of as many classified documents are in Biden's house. That's how long the list is. I mean, like how many mayors had to go out and apologize? The mayor of Austin that put out a promo saying, hey, stay home for Thanksgiving. Don't go anywhere. COVID's going to kill you. It's the winter of death. He made that Facebook announcement from his condo in Cabo after getting on a jet plane with 10 other people.
Flew out of the country.
The list is, the list is so long of that kind of behavior. It infuriates me.
But here's the thing, though. I guarantee you, some woke head of a convention, like Gen Con or something, some woke head of a convention is going to hear that speech by Gretchen and go, oh, they're going to be doing abortions all the time. We need to go to Michigan. What are we doing? Women's rights. Let's go to Michigan. They're killing babies left and right. We've got to get there.
Was that her way of getting businesses to come to Michigan?
Right. And maybe it'll work. I don't know.
Well, look, I certainly think, I was thinking about this, the abortion issue was more of an issue than maybe Republicans thought it was going to be in the midterms. I really believe that. It was a double-edged sword, Roe v. Wade and Dobbs, because I think a lot of independents kind of went the Democrat way when they saw some states outright restricting everything. I'm not. I mean, do you agree with that? I mean, I think it was a bigger deal than we thought it was.
Right. It didn't poll. It was a big deal.
Right.
But come election day, the exit polling and the results showed that it was indeed a big deal. Which, by the way, how's the search for the leaker going in terms of that whole Roe versus Wade thing? Any updates on the search for the leaker?
The leaked Dobbs decision? Yeah. No, nothing. Nada.
We're finding classified documents in the unisex bathroom across the hall, but we can't find out who leaked the most controversial piece the Supreme Court's put out in a long time. We can't do that.
It's unreal. And they did it just to intimidate and try to sway the Supreme Court justices into making a decision or possibly changing their vote or their decision on Dobbs and Roe v. Wade.
Did it work? Maybe it did, because it certainly wasn't the red wave that a lot of people thought was coming in the midterms, and that could be the issue that people can point to and say, you know what, I was going to vote for you. I don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat, but this issue ended up being important to me, and they went the other direction. Perhaps, I don't know, but I'm telling you, you can't discount stupid people heading up these conventions saying, yes, Indianapolis has been really good, and every year we go there, it's packed, and the hotels are right there, and you can walk to anywhere in the city, and you don't need to get an Uber. But Michigan just said they're going to be killing babies left and right. What are we doing? We got to get to Michigan. Quick, hurry. It's ridiculous the way these people think. So yesterday, Joe Biden gets propped up there. They put enough peanut butter on his teeth to make it look like he's talking, and he's talking about what's happening in Ukraine.
They do that with horses.
They did that with Mr. Ed. Yes. With Mr. Ed, they put peanut butter on his teeth.
Put peanut butter on Biden's teeth?
To make it look like he was talking. They did that to Biden yesterday. Okay. And he talks about 31 tanks being sent to Ukraine, and Germany's going to deliver 14 tanks and all types of different things. Well, Russia has responded. They fired off a bunch of missiles. At least 11 people have been killed, 11 injured. We thought this had the possibility of looking like an escalation. The United States and Germany hooking up Ukraine with a bunch of weaponry. And state-run media in Russia, while they were first laughing at the tanks that got brought over, calling them toothless, they responded by firing off a series of missiles and killing 11 people.
Well, I mean, so why the change then? Why, at first, Biden and the administration said, no, these tanks, they're hard to maneuver in the mud. The logistics of the software is complicated. There's no facilities to repair these tanks in Ukraine, and also the possibility to piss off Putin even further to the point of a nuclear exchange. All those are the possibility to happen. So we were not going to send tanks at all. No tanks. But then what happened? We did a complete 180. Why? It's because everybody over in Europe caved and is ready to give them everything. Germany wasn't going to give them tanks. They caved. The British gave him a bunch of stuff. And Joe Biden doesn't want to look like he's not doing enough to help the effort over there.
Matt Bear has a look at the roads.
All right, Hammer, looking away Westbound Rockville Road at Girls School Road, vehicle tapped out, and that's causing a delay almost back to High School Road. It is slow. Eastbound 465, a little bit slow after Keystone 269. Inbound 65, stop and go after 21st to the North Split. Southwest side, eastbound 465, slow off 70. Over to Harding. Traffic sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Mr. Biden, would you prefer Skippy or Jif before you make the speech? We've got both. We've got natural.
And can you see Pete Buttigieg just kind of rubbing it on his gums? There you go. There you go. It's going to look like you're really talking, Mr. President. President Weekend at Bernie's. It's going to look real official, Mr. Ed. Right now, we've got cloudy skies. 27 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Get ready for fun. Yeah. Get ready to laugh. Is this anything? Next.
5.5%. Where can you get 5.5% on your money today? You're certainly not going to get it at the bank. And who knows what will happen next with the stock market. But for a limited time, you can get 5.5% guaranteed for 3 years. That's right. You can get 5.5% on your money guaranteed for 3 years. And it's backed by some of the largest, most trusted insurance companies in the world. To learn more, call Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy, at 317-972-9172. This is your chance to lock in a great interest rate before they start falling. Learn how you could get 5.5% on your money, guaranteed for 3 years. Call 317-972-9172. 317-972-9172.
Oh, yeah, Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Love that place. My wife and I are customers. The only place I'd go to buy a mattress. They delivered a Tempur-Pedic mattress to our house for free, by the way, free delivery. And it's more than just mattresses. They've got this huge annual New Year's sale going on right now. Everything from Lazy Boys to Indiana-made Smith Brothers furniture, Berlin Garden outdoor furniture. Talking savings on everything in the store with up to 2 years interest-free financing or take an extra 10% off for cash.
Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, guaranteeing the absolute lowest price on Tempur-Pedic, and for that matter, every brand of mattress that they sell. And what I love about Thompson Furniture, Hoosier-owned family business. Been in the same family since 1927, and they support what we do here at the Hammer and Nigel Show. Take care of these guys. They're awesome. Free delivery if you live within 75 miles of their store. ThompsonFurniture.net. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
There's the good parts we all think about. The crackling of wood on a cold winter night, the warmth and glow in the room. And then there's the other part. The stale campfire smell, the potentially dangerous creosote buildup. It's easy to forget about the importance of fireplace maintenance. The certified professionals at Chimney Solutions Indiana can keep your fireplace clean and safe using trusted products and repair techniques. Call 317-757-6979 or go to chimneyindy.com.
Winter heating bills got you down?
Save big with Peterman Brothers. Get a brand new furnace for less than $49 a month and no payments till spring.
Plus, for a limited time, we're including a free 15-year parts and labor warranty with all new systems.
We'll also install it next day, guaranteed, or we'll give you $500.
See why Peterman was voted one of Indy's best and let our family take care of yours like no one else can.
Visit PetermanHVAC.com to schedule today.
Theme weeks, family nights, live a dream trips, and more. Whether you're looking for a short-term rehabilitation stay or want to downsize with our independent living apartments, you'll find there's always something to celebrate at a Trilogy Senior Living community. Trilogy is proud to take care of seniors' day-to-day hassles so they can enjoy life with friends, family, and a staff committed to exceeding their expectations every day. Visit us today at www.trilogyhs.com/live to find out why Trilogy is where family comes to live.
At Mucinex, we don't believe in cold and flu season. We only believe in comeback season, which starts with 12-hour relief. Just one dose of Mucinex DM provides 12 hours of relief for cough and chest congestion day or night. That's 3 times longer than those 4-hour cough liquids. So say goodbye to cold and flu season and hello to comeback season with Mucinex DM. Nothing lasts longer among over-the-counter cold and cough medicine. Get relief that lasts with Mucinex DM. Use as directed.
A B-Window $2,000 energy-saving credit plus federal tax credit and sale prices on windows, siding, and doors. No payments and no interest for 22 months.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything? On 93 WIBC.
Hammer, how do we play Is This Anything?
I'm going to run some stories by you. You break down all the information, and you give us a verdict. Is the story anything or not? So there's a guy called the There I Ruined It guy.
Yeah.
He's popular on like YouTube and online platforms. His job is to basically ruin things for you. He's the There I Ruined It guy. So his latest release, and this is something in your wheelhouse here, Nige, is what he thinks Pearl Jam sounds like to people who don't like Pearl Jam.
See a little gonna baby down my face looking through the paper, though we're not something that is never so damn man in concrete.
Yeah.
Oh, feeling. Maybe he'll see a little not as something so that's never done to set the weather. I'm feeling through the between all the better Saturdays.
Yes. I think I like that better than the original lead and flow. The There I Ruined It guy is definitely something. That was for people who don't like Pearl Jam. He ruined that song.
That's what every Pearl Jam song sounds like to people who don't like the band.
I'm going to one up you here. I got one for you. Here's one by the same guy where he ruined the You Can't Handle the Truth courtroom scene with Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise and A Few Good Men, but he put it to the Toy Story song. Here, I'll just go ahead and play it.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We've covered this, haven't we?
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to. You can't handle the truth. Are we clear, Colonel? You can't handle the truth.
There's more.
Did you order the code red? Damn right I did. Damn right I did.
I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom.
You can't handle the truth. Are we clear? You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. Well done from the There I Ruined It guy.
Man, I'm crying. Oh, that just completely ruined that courtroom scene for me. That's one of my favorite movies in the world. And now you have Jack Nicholson singing along with the Toy Story theme.
I like both of those songs. I'm not going to lie. I like the Pearl Jam, and I like A Few Good Men. Is this anything? On the subject of music, Ozzy Osbourne and Joan Jett will appear in Workday's Super Bowl commercial.
It's Workday.
They released a preview of it. Office workers find out who the new guy is in the office, and it's Ozzy.
Who's the new guy?
I don't know, but he's supposed to be some kind of rock star.
Which one of you wants a piercing?
I think Workday is like some sort of software company or something, like the cloud or something. But I don't understand this trend. It's been going on for a long time now. Super Bowl commercials being released before the Super Bowl.
Right.
I hate that.
Total spoiler, really.
Yeah, it was really, I guess we could have prefaced this by saying, hey, spoiler alert, this is the commercial that's going to air in the Super Bowl. I don't get why do companies do that?
I don't know.
I mean, there's got to be a reason. Everybody's doing it. It's a trend that's been going on for years with with YouTube and social media. But that frustrates me. A lot of the reason, especially if I don't care about the teams too much, I love the commercials. I love watching. I wait for the movie previews as well, and they even release those now prematurely. So, whatever, Ozzy Osbourne, Joan Jett, how many people know who they are? You know, right? I'm saying like the demographic that they want watching the Super Bowl. With you have Rihanna singing the halftime show. You have Chris Stapleton singing "America the Beautiful." You have Babyface doing the Star Spangled Banner.
No, Chris Stapleton's doing the national anthem, and Babyface doing "America the Beautiful."
And so, but Ozzy Osbourne and Joan Jett, how much does that resonate with the audience, with the people that are watching the Super Bowl? I don't know. I definitely don't like that trend of releasing Super Bowl commercials before the actual Super Bowl airs.
Is this anything? An adult woman out of New Jersey was caught posing as a high school student after 4 days of attending classes. Here is Dr. Aubrey Johnson, the superintendent of New Brunswick Public Schools, breaking down what happened. Also, a student talking about how the woman contacted her after she was found out.
Last week, by filing some false documents, an adult female posing as a student was able to be enrolled in our high school. She attended school for 4 days. She was in a few classes and then most time in our guidance suite as we were trying to get more information from her.
Last night, she contacted me at 10:56 p.m. asking how I was. As soon as I saw the message, I blocked the number and couldn't fall asleep for the next 2 hours.
She should have gone, all just one of the guys and pretended to be a dude.
Great movie.
Yeah, Terry Griffith, an aspiring teenage journalist, gets on the football team. That's kind of what that reminded me of. But it is creepy. And it's like didn't they, the same thing for 21 Jump Street originally with Johnny Depp?
Right.
They were all a bunch of older cops that posed as high school kids. And
correct.
And went into high schools to infiltrate drug dealers and stuff like that.
Let's go back to just one of the guys for a second, because I can make a case, and I think JMV and I have actually talked about this before. That is one of the great surprise nudity scenes of all time. Like, there's some movies you watch where you know nudity is coming. Like this movie, it wasn't rated R. I think it was like a PG-13.
There's a quick flash there at the end, right?
The reveal.
Yes.
Yes. Like, oh, there they are. We'll all be a son of a blank. There they are.
They were real and they were spectacular.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
The Indianapolis Home Show, January 20th through 29th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds and Event Center. 10 days only for great deals, new ideas, and practical advice with trusted local experts. Tour the Centerpiece Home, crafted by custom container builders. Plus, see HGTV stars and twin sisters Leslie Davis and Lindsay Lamb from Unsellable Houses. From kitchens and baths to landscaping and more. Don't miss the Indianapolis Home Show. Save on tickets at IndianapolisHomeshow.com. Discount courtesy of Central Indiana Chevy dealers.
So you and I are homeowners. You are also a multi-legged bug-in-the-basement owner. You are a low-battery chirping smoke detector that you can't seem to find an owner. But thankfully, you and I are also American Standard furnace and air conditioner owners. So you don't need to worry about your heating and cooling. Need an American Standard service? Go check out our friends.
B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains in Speedway. Ask B&W about their Premier Club. Premier Club members get a visit from a B&W member in the spring and the fall, where they'll check all of your electrical connections, voltage and amps on your AC and furnace, your gas pressure on your gas furnace, check the airflow, and leave you with extra filters so you can change it yourself when needed. Visit bplusw.com. That's B, the word plus, W.com, or just give them a call, 317-243-3581. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. American Standard Heating and Air, built to a higher standard.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Why a math teacher is going behind bars. 27 degrees and cloudy in downtown Indianapolis. Mostly clear on the radar with a low of 18 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:31. A Hamilton Southeastern math teacher will be heading to prison for child molestation next month. Sasha Nixon reports.
According to court documents, Ian Gray was charged with 2 counts of child molesting in 2021. He has been found guilty of fondling or touching a child under the age of 14. A female student said that he had touched her multiple times throughout her year in the 6th grade. After this information came to light, he was placed on administrative leave, but later quit and eventually turned himself in to police. Gray will be sentenced on February 17th. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
One man was found shot and killed on the east side this morning off Whitfield Street, which is just south of Post Road and 38th Street. Police say several homes in the area were also hit by gunfire. The victim was ID'd as 23-year-old Jalen Smith, and the shooting is being investigated as a homicide. The 5 former Memphis police officers involved in the violent arrest of Tyree Nichols are facing murder charges.
Second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct through unauthorized exercise of power.
Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy called the event a tragedy. Nichols, a black man, died in the hospital days after a January 7th traffic stop involving the police officers, who are also black. President Biden says he's building an economy for everyone.
We're building an economy where nobody's left behind. And I mean it, nobody's left behind.
Speaking in Springfield, Virginia this afternoon, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said yesterday House Republicans want to cut Social Security and Medicare as they ask for spending cuts in exchange for increasing the debt limits. You may have heard that former Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels is considering running for the U.S. Senate. Indiana's current governor, Eric Holcomb, was asked about that today.
I think Mitch Daniels has a sophisticated vocabulary and he can speak for himself, and I'll wait till he does.
Daniels has been considering a run for Senate and recently stepped down as president of Purdue University. Your stock report. The Dow finished up 205 today to 33,949. The NASDAQ up 199 to 11,512. And the S&P 500 up 44 points to 4,060. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:33.
When you hear Diamonds Direct, it's not just a catchy name designed to give the illusion of value. Our name is who we really are. Diamonds Direct was started by diamond cutters a quarter of a century ago. At our very core is a commitment to cut out the middleman and deliver extreme value in exquisite diamonds. Today, that's more true than ever, with our direct access to diamonds straight from the mines. Diamonds that we then cut and polish. Exquisite diamonds up to 15 and 20 carats in all shapes and sizes. It's an advantage other jewelers only dream of. By overseeing the entire process, we know for a fact Diamonds Direct is truly direct. So this year, as value becomes more important than ever, rest assured that Diamonds Direct's unique status in the world diamond market guarantees you the best no middleman direct importer price, period. And even with this extreme value promise, at Diamonds Direct you still get an unbeatable selection, transparent education, a luxurious shopping experience, superior customer service, no compromises. It's not having a cool name or clever advertising, it's the truth. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
With traffic at 434, here's Matt Baer.
Northwest side, northbound 465. Stop and go 86th Street up to 865. Eastbound 465, loaded from Keystone to Allisonville Road. South side, eastbound 465. That's stop and go traffic from Kentucky over to Harding Street. Traffic sponsored by Indy Decorative Concrete. Imagine the possibilities of getting the backyard of your dreams. Expand your living space with an Indy Decorative Concrete patio. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts, changing the way Indy thinks about concrete. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A few early flurries this evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll see lows fall close to 20. Mostly cloudy on Friday. A scattered rain or snow shower possible. It's going to be breezy with highs into the mid and upper 30s. I'm Wish TV. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is here. It is the Hammer and Nigel show. Something we were talking about earlier real quick. I was kind of, I was really annoyed that like Super Bowl commercials release early. Like that one with Ozzy Osbourne and Joan Jett that we played. And I was like, why do they do that? So Gerald Hawkins writes us and says, Super Bowl commercials release early because they cost so much to air during the game and sponsors want as many eyes for their money. I would say wait on that. Okay, yeah, release it everywhere after it airs, but not before. You just ruin it.
Right.
You ruin the surprise.
Because people the next day always write articles, the best commercials, boom, 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 boom. And they're not going to put yours in there if they've already seen it, right?
Right. It kind of loses the element of surprise. So anyway, let's dive into some legal stuff, shall we?
Crime, punishment, judges, legal stuff. Potential jurors in the Delphi murder trial will come from Fort Wayne. So they had narrowed it down a couple days ago to a couple different counties, and it turns out that Allen County, Fort Wayne, is where the jury will come from. The case will still be heard in Carroll County at the courthouse in Delphi. Now, the next big date on the calendar, if you're keeping track of the Delphi murder trial, is February 17th. That's the date where the judge will decide whether bail should be granted and likely schedule a new trial date. Because we said all along, there's no way that trial is going to start on time. So they will probably have a new trial date. February 17th is the next big date on the calendar.
So there's going to be a bunch of people in Fort Wayne packing their bags and making the 2-hour trip across, southwest to Carroll County. If I was somebody in Fort Wayne, I got chosen to be on this jury, I'd want to do the right thing. I'd want to serve the public. I'd want to, do my civil duty. But man, that is, I'm going to be careful here because what happened to those girls was awful and they need justice. But, if you're someone living in Fort Wayne, don't you think you've heard of what happened in Delphi? Because that's the whole reason they're doing this.
Right.
That's the whole reason. And I'm like, whether you live in Fort Wayne or Carroll County or Indianapolis, everybody's heard of this. It got nationwide attention. And then you pack your bags and you are in a hotel for 2 weeks and sequestered. Right. But I'm pretty sure the families of the victims really don't care that much about the inconvenience of being a juror on their daughter's killer's trial.
And we have no idea who the jury is going to be. We just know they're going to be from Fort Wayne. Maybe, as hard as it is for us to believe, maybe there are some people that don't know about this, people that don't watch the news. Maybe you're a new voter. Maybe you're an 18-year-old that's registered. You just voted for the first time. You get pulled for jury duty. Maybe you don't know about this story. I don't see how, but perhaps. But you're right. I just want the justice system to run its course, and I want it to be accurate. I want everything done right here. Yes. That's important.
I just wonder, extenuating circumstances for anybody that lives 2 hours away, there's going to be a lot of that, I would think. Hey, I got a family. I got a job. I'm a single mother. I've got kids. There's no way I can pack up for a week or 2 weeks or however long a trial is going to be.
Have you ever served on a jury?
I never have. I've been, I got the summons to call I don't know if you call it a summons. I got the notification to call the number every day for a week. Did you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They send
you check in to see if your pool number is selected.
And I checked it every day, and I was like sweating it every day, and I never have. I know you have, and it was a pretty serious.
Yeah. I had one. Back when I was still working at the casino, and I was out of media at the time, I was picked for a high-profile murder here in Indianapolis. Now, I don't want to say what it is in case the families are listening and like, hey, that's the bastard that sent my relative, for the rest of his life in jail. But it was a high-profile murder, and we sent the dude away for the rest of his life. And it was the right decision. But, man, I was surprised they didn't sequester us. They let us go home every night. They just told us, hey, don't research the case.
Did you have to miss work?
I did. Got paid for it. Very little, but they pay you for your time gone.
But did work pay you?
No, the state of Indiana.
No, I understand that, but you did the casino...
I had a yearly salary, so it wasn't like I was getting paid by the day.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
But I didn't have to use vacation days either.
That was my next question. So was it tough for you in any way, shape, or form, knowing that you were participating in something that would send somebody to jail for the rest of their lives?
No, because it was the right thing to do. It was clearly murder, without question. The hardest part was I had a woke teacher in our group that refused, no matter what the law was, refused to put a young African-American male away for the rest of his life. That was his argument. And this guy was a teacher of a prominent school in Indianapolis area. I just can't send a young black man to prison for the rest of his life.
How long were these deliberations? I mean, just to give me an idea, maybe some perspective of what people might be going to go through in Carroll County that get called to jury duty. Like, how long were your deliberations behind closed doors? Like, you were done with the case, you heard it all. How long did it take for you to decide? A couple days?
8 hours.
You said it.
Yeah, because we got to go home at the end of the night, right? So we'd go to the trial. It was about 3 days. And day 4, we arrive, closing arguments. That's when we get put into the room. They order pizza for you. They bring in some food and stuff. And you guys have to come up with a decision. And it was pretty obvious, though. There was no doubt about this trial.
But there was one holdout.
Right. Because
did you go
of
back?
race.
Did you go back to the judge and be like, "Yeah, this guy," like, or were you able to convince him?
We were able to convince him.
Like,
we were, and this was what was great. So after we go in the courtroom and the verdict is announced, and it's pretty intense because these scumbags are sitting across from you and they're staring daggers at you as the jury. So you stare back at them, and so they go away for the rest of their lives. The judge then comes in. And this was an old school judge. What took you guys so long?
Really?
Swear to God, yeah. And everybody kind of did that slow eye roll look at Wokey McWokeface, the teacher over here.
Wow. Were you okay? Did they give you lunch every day during the trial? Did you break for lunch, and did they provide food for you?
So they had a little bit if you wanted it, but most of us just went out to sub shops around the area.
Okay.
So it was just over at, the city county courthouse. And so, we'd go out and we'd go to the pizza place on the Circle or something and grab lunch, be back in an hour, more testimony.
You're the only person I think I've known in my life that's ever had to sit on something that high profile before.
And it's intense. It really is. And I can't imagine the photos that this jury is going to see. Because the one that I had, they show you photos of the crime scene and the morgue.
You have to look at that stuff?
Yeah, because that's all part of the evidence. That's how the crime scene was.
You think the jury in Carroll County will have to look at crime scene photos?
They might. It depends on how they want to do the trial, from the prosecution to the defense. If the defense comes out and says, the way these bodies are positioned, there's no way my client would have done this or that. Same thing with the prosecution.
Let me ask you this, and for people listening might want to weigh in on this. Or should we hope for a change, for Richard Allen, the accused killer here? Maybe we should just hope that he decides to cut a deal and plead guilty and go away for the rest of his life. That's probably what everybody's hoping for.
If he's guilty. And that's the thing. You are innocent until you're proven guilty. And I want to be very adamant about that. This isn't like the Iowa situation where, man, all the DNA evidence, all the witnesses, all the things lead to that guy, the Idaho, I should say, that killed those college kids. It's right there for you. But in this case, there's still a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Was he the only one involved? Was he the one that killed these girls? Does he know who killed these girls if he's not the one? There's a lot of questions.
How did the unspent shell casing wind up next to their bodies that was traced back to his gun? And what experts are the defense going to bring in to try to debunk the science behind what they used to trace that?
Right. There's a lot of questions.
I haven't
here.
heard anything about the death penalty, which is strange to me in this case. I haven't heard anybody mention that once.
Anymore in the state of Indiana, the death penalty is just a bargaining chip because the state of Indiana has no intent on using it. Until people like Benjamin Ritchie have been executed, it's just a bargaining chip.
Is that he killed the police officer?
He killed the police officer in Beech Grove, and in the courtroom yelled out at the widow and called her a B word. Ugh. Got the badge number tattooed on his neck. He does all these MSNBC shows. This little son of a blank thinks he's a rock star and a celebrity.
What shows? Oh, the kind of show behind the scenes in jails and stuff?
Right, prison shows. he's out of appeals. There are no more appeals to be had for Benjamin Ritchie and a couple others on Indiana death row, yet there they are, just kind of hanging out. He's been convicted. The trial has already happened, because the argument often is, well, those trials cost so much money. Trial's done. He's been convicted. He's out of appeals. He's not the only one, and they're just sitting there.
That's one of the issues in Carroll County. It's so small that they're talking about having to raise people's taxes to pay for a trial. And then just think, if they do go after the death penalty, that's even more money. And I'm wondering if smaller counties have a disadvantage than as if this were to have happened in, say, Marion County in terms of resources.
Right. I mean, we already have seen with the judge. The original judge was like, this is too big for me. I can't handle this. So they went over and got another judge to handle this. So again, it looks like it's going to be a jury from Fort Wayne, and the trial will still take place in Carroll County, and the next court date is February 17th, and at that point, they're going to decide whether bail should be granted and most likely schedule a new trial.
How in the world is that guy going to post any bail, even if it was granted? I'm assuming it would be through the roof. I mean, a guy couldn't even afford his own attorney. He had to have a court-appointed attorney.
Right. That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea. See, there's a lot of questions here that are surrounding this, and a lot of them aren't even about whether or not he was the guy. Did the police do things the right way? Did they have the proper warrants? What about this guy that's been charged with child porn, Kagan Klein? Yeah. He hasn't been charged with anything Delphi related, but does he know something? His court appearance today was rescheduled and moved to March 30th. The defense had requested a continuance, and that was granted. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Home shows provide homeowners the deepest discounts of the year on remodeling projects. And right now, Window Nation is bringing the home show savings right into your house. 2 free windows with every 2 you buy, no limit. Plus, pay no interest for 60 months.
Use their free virtual visualizer at windownation.com/homeshow. Upload a picture of your house and try out hundreds of options online. Get design tips from the experts and learn how Window Nation's trained installation specialists have helped over 150,000 homes with over 96% customer satisfaction rates. But remember, these once-a-year home show savings are for a very limited time. Call Window Nation today, 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com/homeshow. Get 2 windows free with every 2 that you buy. Pay no interest for 60 months. That's 5 full years. 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com/homeshow.
What's it like having next-gen supersonic Wi-Fi from Xfinity? Well, it's ready for major gig speeds, so it's fast, like riding a cheetah fast. And with 3 times the bandwidth, the gaming never has to end. Plus, Xfinity Supersonic Wi-Fi has the power you need to connect hundreds of devices at the same time. Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Learn more about our next generation Wi-Fi technology from Xfinity to do more of what you love online. Or now through February 21st, new customers can get started with 75 megabits per second internet for only $20 a month for 12 months. Plus, there's no annual contract required, so it's risk-free. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
The new year is here. Time for a change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand IT field with My Computer Career. In just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus. And financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
If your loved one has stopped seeing friends because hearing loss prevents the use of the telephone, please help them by visiting RelayIndiana.com. RelayIndiana.com provides captioned telephones that allow the hard of hearing to have phone conversations through voice recognition technology. the other person's words appear on an easy-to-read screen. Help your loved one stay in touch with their family and friends by getting them the CapTel caption telephone from Relay Indiana. Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
Winning games and championships is fun, but the true purpose of high school sports is for student athletes to grow as people, not just athletes. I'm Paul Knighty, Commissioner of the IHSAA.
And I'm Dr. Katie Jenner, Indiana's Secretary of Education. Hoosier teachers and coaches care just as much about how student athletes are performing in the classroom as they do about how they're performing on the playing field.
They understand high school sports are a tool to educate and shape the whole student athlete, helping teens become the best versions of themselves.
Our teachers and coaches don't just teach academic and athletic skills, they also encourage communication and collaboration, instill confidence, promote a strong work ethic, and so much more. To all our Hoosier educators and coaches, we are grateful for everything you do.
Fans, buy a ticket to your high school's athletic events and thank our educators for making education-based athletics possible.
This is gratitude. This is appreciation. This is your IHSAA.
Hubler has certified service and maintenance for the life of your vehicle. Get everyday value pricing on service and parts and schedule an appointment with ease at drivehubler.com.
Imagine the possibilities of getting the backyard of your dreams. Expand your living space with an Indy Decorative Concrete patio. Indy Decorative Concrete, the patio experts, changing the way Indy thinks about concrete.
Matt Bear has a look at the roads.
Northbound, Biff has some road construction at 75th, causing a backup in those outbound lanes. Inbound 65 jams at 21st to the north split. Eastbound 70 stop and go from Belmont to Meridian, Illinois. And on the northwest side, northbound 465 barely moving after 79th up to 865. Traffic sponsored by B-Window. Now get a $2,000 energy saving credit and federal tax credit of B-Window, plus sale prices on windows, siding, and doors with 22 months, no interest or payments. BWindow.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
27 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Coming up at 5:33 on the dot, Rob Kendall off the rails. Also coming up here in about 5:20-ish, we've got someone from the WIBC newsroom coming in, Donnie Burgess. He's got a very interesting documentary special, if you will, about Bob Ross that's going to air tonight at 7. So we've got top stories and those guys all coming up. But first, Nigel, would you like to hear Whoopi Goldberg let a big fart?
No!
I heard yes.
But is it true that Trump had nuclear secrets? It's been reported, but we don't know the specifics. But just real quick,
Did you hear that?
I watched the clip earlier, like somebody spills something, right?
Yes.
And they're trying to clean it up.
And Whoopi Goldberg moves a little bit, and I think she wiggles something out of there. Can we play it again?
It's been reported, but we don't know the specifics. But just real quick,
They started laughing. The chick started laughing.
She's trying to ignore it.
She couldn't laugh.
All right, so this time,
Showing Bayard's
stand by one more time here, James. This time, don't focus on the fart.
Okay.
Listen for the girl. I think it's their conservative girl now. I don't know what her name is. She's trying not to laugh at the end.
It's been reported, but we don't know the specifics. But just real quick,
I couldn't not focus on the fart, by the way. But I did see here at the end her trying to contain her laughter.
Which brings us to great moments in TV hosts farting.
Yeah!
This is when Shaquille O'Neal had Charles Barkley laughing so hard he was snorting, and he also let one go.
Supposed to be 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, back to 1. With your dumbass. Do it again, Chuck. Oh, man. Yeah, dude. Tell me it's going to be some fake.
And here's a weatherman in northern Kentucky, and he's trying to give you the forecast.
Well, you'll notice we've already gotten 30s in Evansville where the transition has occurred, and it's 42 in Bedford. I just want to show you how cold this air is. It's 8 in Des Moines, Iowa.
Thank you for showing us the air.
That was a squeaker, wasn't it?
And last but not least, Wendy Williams, who
classic.
She has a burp and a fart.
And she probably got 5 new boyfriends. We haven't caught anybody coming out of the house yet, but just a matter of time. She's not lonely. I apologize.
That crowd groaning. Oh! Great moments in TV hosts farting. Mike Pence used to sit in this chair.
Yeah, winter is here. How'd you like driving around in that snowstorm a couple of weeks ago? I didn't like it at all. I don't want to be stuck out in the snow, changing a flat tire, cars zooming by me on the interstate, or maybe even changing a dead battery in the cold. It's why I'm a AAA member. Flat tire, dead battery, run out of gas, lock your keys in your car. I've done it all. AAA is there for me 24/7, 365. Winter does not care where you need to be, but my friends at AAA do. So do yourself a favor. Join AAA today. It's really easy to become a member. It's quick to become a member. I've been a member for years.
Get your AAA membership right now at AAA.com or call 844-GO-AAA-GO. Or you can also stop by your local AAA office. Don't forget, ask about complimentary travel planning and insurance rates, auto, home, and life, because you don't have to be stuck on the side of the road to get assistance from AAA.
Shake down the thunder on January 27th with the Indiana Pacers for University of Notre Dame Hat Night as the Pacers battle the Bucks.
Turner blocked the shot. That's number 1,000.
Only available through this promotion. Get your game night ticket and a limited edition Indiana Pacers and University of Notre Dame co-branded New Era hat starting at just $35.
Here's a deep three. Halliburton.
Show your alumni pride by visiting Pacers.com/university. Pacers Bucks, University of Notre Dame Hat Night, Friday at 7.
At Mucinex, we don't believe in cold and flu season. We only believe in comeback season, which starts with 12-hour relief. Just one dose of Mucinex DM provides 12 hours of relief for cough and chest congestion day or night. That's 3 times longer than those 4-hour cough liquids. So say goodbye to cold and flu season and hello to comeback season with Mucinex DM. Nothing lasts longer among over-the-counter cold and cough medicine. Get relief that lasts with Mucinex DM. Use as directed.
By listening to WIBC, you'll learn how to create a secure income plan that is sustainable throughout retirement from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. Tune into WIBC this Sunday from 9 to 10 p.m.
Get 3 rooms of carpets Zero-Res clean for only $139. Call 388-5141 or online at ZeroResIndy.com with promo code ZeroRes1.
Emhart, Henry, Reeves, and Wagner. Over 140 years specializing exclusively in patent, trademark, trade secret, and copyright law and litigation. On the web at uspatent.com.
Hey, it's Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. It's our 96th annual New Year's sale. Save 50% plus 24 months interest-free financing on all Lazy Boy and Indiana-made Smith Brothers of Bern. Plus, take an extra 10% off for cash. Queen Tempur-Pedic mattresses start at $50 per month. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus with free delivery.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Sasha Nixon reports on a former teacher who's going to prison. Someone else has died in a fire that happened in Indy earlier this month. And a former Colts head coach already has a new job. John Herrick has that story. It's coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
An appeal for peace. Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden just out with a statement adding his condolences to the family of Tyree Nichols, who died after a traffic stop beating in Memphis, where video footage is expected to be released late tomorrow, now that 5 officers have been charged with murder and other counts. Shelby County DA Steve Mulroy.
It's my hope that if there is any silver lining to be drawn from this very dark cloud, it's that perhaps this incident can open a broader conversation about the need for police reform.
The officers have already been fired and multiple investigations continue, including a federal civil rights investigation. The president urging that any protests be peaceful. A man inspired by ISIS is convicted at a federal terror trial for plowing his rented truck into people on a New York City bike path in 2017, killing 8 and injuring 18 others.
After roughly 6 hours and 30 minutes of deliberation, the jury found Sayfullo Saipov guilty of all 8 federal murder and and 18 attempted murder charges in aid of racketeering. He was also found guilty of providing material or resources to ISIS.
Fox's Brian Yennis. Saipov could face the death penalty. That phase of the trial scheduled to start February 6th. The president repeats a pledge.
As long as I'm president, no one making less than $400,000 will have a single penny of their taxes raised, period.
Visiting a union hall in Virginia to defend the Biden agenda and accuse Republicans of proposals that would inflict pain, including cuts to Social Security and Medicare. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise says that's not true.
They know it's a lie, and yet they still keep telling it. This is the president who was just a few months ago on 60 Minutes saying that it was irresponsible for a president to have classified documents. At the time, he knew he had classified documents in his garage.
Republicans do want to rein in spending as part of a possible debt limit deal. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Why he's going behind bars. 27 degrees and cloudy in downtown Indianapolis. Your radar mostly clear. The low drops below 20 tonight to about 18. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. A math teacher from Hamilton Southeastern will be heading to prison for child molestation next month. Sasha Nixon reports.
According to court documents, Ian Gray was charged with 2 counts of child molesting in 2021. He has been found guilty of fondling or touching a child under the age of 14. A female student said that he had touched her multiple times throughout her year in the 6th grade. After this information came to light, he was placed on administrative leave, but later quit and eventually turned himself in to police. Gray will be sentenced on February 17th. Sasha Nixon, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The January 9th fire on Elwyn Drive has taken another life.
So there were 4 children involved in the fire, 14 years old, 12 years old, 3 years old, and 15 months old. This morning we learned that the 3-year-old child passed this morning.
IFD Battalion Chief Rita Reich says a 15-month-old baby and an adult man also died in that fire. IFD says the 12-year-old boy is still recovering at Riley Hospital. The 14-year-old boy has been released. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. One man was found shot and killed on the east side this morning off Whitfield Street. That's just south of Post Road and 38th Street. Police say several homes in the area were hit by bullets. The victim was ID'd as Jalen Smith, a 23-year-old, and the shooting is being investigated as a homicide. You may have heard that former Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels is considering running for U.S. Senate. Indiana's current governor, Eric Holcomb, was asked about that today.
I think Mitch Daniels has a sophisticated vocabulary and he can speak for himself, and I'll wait till he does.
Daniels has been considering a run for Senate and recently stepped down as president of Purdue University. A former Indianapolis Colts head coach now has another job. John Herrick explains.
You might remember that Frank Reich was fired from the Colts mid-season in 2022 when the team was 3-5-1. On Thursday, he was hired by the Carolina Panthers to be their next head coach. Reich played for the Panthers in 1995, which was the team's first season in the league, and he threw the first touchdown pass in Panthers franchise history. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
If you own a small or medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are over $100,000. Even businesses that have received PPP funds may be eligible. And there are absolutely no fees unless you receive a refund. So there's no reason not to apply. If your business experienced shutdowns, limited capacity, supply chain challenges, or reduced revenue due to COVID, you likely qualify. RefundsPro.com has already helped hundreds of businesses, so don't lose the refund you're owed by missing the deadline. Get started today with a free 5-minute questionnaire at RefundsPro.com. That's refunds with an S, pro.com.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05. What's going on, Matt Bear?
I hate this for evening rush. Outbound Binford, the northbound lanes just after 75th, right lane down right now for clear path construction, and we are backed up all the way to East 62nd Street. It's one of the most wicked semi-fires I've ever seen. It's southbound 65 between the White River and MLK. 2 right lanes are blocked. Now, it looks like they just fought the fire, and the fire is out, but traffic is still stopped back to 38th Street, Kessler Boulevard. Traffic sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A few early flurries this evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll see lows fall close to 20. Mostly cloudy on Friday. A scattered rain or snow shower possible. It's going to be breezy with highs into the mid and upper 30s. I'm Wish TV. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
Hello, my name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is right over there. Talking a lot about crime numbers in Indy. Homicides were down last year from the year before, but it's not like it dropped in half or anything.
It's still
like
a top
that.
3 of all time.
And the perception that Indianapolis is just not a safe place to be. We've talked about this with Reverend Charles Harrison of the Indy 10-Point Coalition. Even though numbers are down slightly in terms of homicides, do the hot spots that you patrol, do people feel safe? And the answer was absolutely not. Now, anybody can just take a picture on Mass Ave of them drinking a beer on a Saturday afternoon during the day and say, these people are just fear-mongering. There's nothing wrong with Indy. It's a safe place. And I get that. But the overall feeling, the overall sentiment, especially some of these hot spots where career violent criminals keep getting let out of jail, nobody feels safe.
And I think it speaks volumes that here on Monument Circle, where our station is at, a lot of the businesses that historically back Democrat candidates and donate to Democratic candidates didn't necessarily do that this past election cycle. Some of the folks that are always blue said, we can't back Ryan Mears. Now, Ryan Mears won big anyway. 60% of the vote to become the prosecutor again because Marion County is just so blue. But there's a lot of people, even Democrats, who feel this is a different Indianapolis than what it was 10 years ago, and it's not a good thing.
Starbucks felt that way, decided to close up shop. Remember that a few weeks ago?
But woke writers and people like that are telling me that they left for other reasons, Nige.
No, they said it. They were worried and concerned for the safety of their staff. What does that tell you? The same thing, by the way, happening in Seattle in some staples like Nike is shutting down in Seattle and some of the other Democrat-run cities. So, Indy violence this month, jeez, makes the second deadliest start to a year in this city's history. For the month of January, let me repeat that, the second deadliest start to a year in the city's history. It doesn't seem to me like it's getting better, even though Joe Hogsett would have you believe differently.
So we woke up today to 2 more homicides overnight, and as of right now, the ones that we know of, we have 18 homicides in 26 days. Indianapolis is already outpacing the start of 2 of the 3 highest years on record. Now keep in mind, the year that had the most homicides 2 years ago, there was a mass shooting event in that year, and it kind of skewed the numbers. So you take out the FedEx massacre of that year, that unfortunate incident there, this is who we are. I mean, the numbers are pretty consistent over the last 3 to 5 years. This is who we are now. And we mentioned this yesterday. Instead of trying to find ways to get with the police and retain the police, things are going the other direction with the IMPD. They're losing officers left and right because the city leaders in the city, they're looking for ways to make the criminals' lives better and the officers' lives more difficult.
What did Rick Snyder, the FOP, tell us that it's like the IMPD staffing has fallen below, he said the word critical level of 1,600 officers.
Less than 1,600.
Wow. So we're off about 275 officers. Officers are either taking early retirement, maybe being lured away to some of the donut counties.
Right. Carmel just posted on Facebook, I think it was 2 days ago, they were proud to announce 3 new signings to the Carmel Police Department, and they had a bio of all the officers. They were all former IMPD officers. And I'm telling you, this isn't going to be the last time you see that. The surrounding donut counties that can give better support to these officers, maybe better pay, but certainly better community support, they're going to be stealing a lot more officers from Indy.
Well, and it's not like the city isn't at least trying. I mean, they've got a recruiting campaign going on right now. They are funding the police, but the more just throwing money at it, what we said time and time again, throwing money at violent crime and this problem in the city is not going to work.
And if you're an IMPD officer, you have to be so sick and tired of arresting the same people over and over again because they keep getting back out on the streets. And then you look to your city for support. You look to your prosecutor. You look to the mayor. And from what we're hearing now, their solution is, well, maybe you shouldn't be in police chases with those people.
Yeah, isn't that what you were saying yesterday? There were rumors of more restrictions for police officers coming, right? That's something you talked about yesterday.
Had multiple people reach out to me that civilian merit board that basically is in charge of policy for IMPD, they're going to have it in front of them. Somebody, and we don't know who, put forth a plan to eliminate police chases involving stolen cars. So if you're at a gas station and somebody carjacks you, throws you out, takes your car, and there's an officer nearby, sorry, we can't chase him.
That's the policy in several cities across the country, and one that's rumored to be going to be implemented here, although we don't have... That's the push anyway. There's going to be a motion for that, is what you're hearing. Is that what you're saying?
It was brought forth. We don't know all the ins and outs of the plan, what the exceptions are, but I do believe that Civilian Merit Board is going to be taking a look at that and voting on that sometime in the near future. Big Nige, let's shift gears just a little bit and get into some vaccine stuff. Pharmacies, antibodies, side effects.
Secret camera.
Vaccine stuff.
Myocarditis.
Everybody. So for those who don't know who Project Veritas is, real quick, Nige, who are they?
Well, Project Veritas they basically go undercover and expose liberal media bias.
Right. They have basically an employee that's wearing a wire, hidden camera and a wire.
Several employees.
That's embedded with these liberal outlets. We've seen videos from a number of them. The latest one, the employee that was embedded at Pfizer, speaking to the Pfizer executive. This is crazy. So Jordan Tristan Walker, he's the Pfizer Director of Research and Development of Strategic Operations, mRNA scientific planner. Somebody was having like a casual dinner, drinks, cocktails hour with this guy, and they started talking about Pfizer's plan moving forward.
Ultimately is thinking about mutating COVID?
Well, that is not what we say to the public. No, don't tell anyone that's going. You probably shouldn't tell anyone. You probably shouldn't tell anyone. Okay? We're exploring, now, how the virus keeps mutating? Yeah. Well, one of the things we're exploring is, why don't we just mutate it ourselves so we could create actively develop new vaccines, right? So we have to do that. If we're going to do that, though, there's a risk of, as you could imagine, no one wants to be having a pharma company mutating viruses. You have to be, very controlled to make sure that this virus that you mutate doesn't create something that, goes everywhere.
Something crazy.
It's the way that the virus started and moving on. To be honest, it makes no sense if this virus popped out of nowhere and
yeah, I know.
So I know it's kind of hard to understand what he was saying there, but the gist was one of the things we're exploring is like, why don't we just mutate it ourselves so that we could create preemptively and develop new vaccines? Which is gain of function research,
right?
Which is what happened in Wuhan and how this thing got started in the first place.
And I retweeted that a little bit earlier. You can find it at Hammer and Nigel. That's some scary stuff right there, that they're wanting to mutate this just so they can develop a vaccine for it and continue to make money. That's gross. That's dangerous. Let's take a look at the roads with Matt Bear.
Northwest side, northbound 465, stop 79th up to 865. And a semi-fire is out coming into downtown, southbound 65. A semi-fire blocking two right lanes between the White River and MLK. Traffic is stopped back to 38th Street, Kessler Boulevard. Stay out of that. Looking at eastbound 70, stop and go traffic from Belmont into Meridian, Illinois. Traffic sponsored by Dell Technologies. Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel vPro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
27 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Sweetheart, sugar, cutie pie. Love is sweet. Your Valentine's Day gift should be too. Visit Shane Company for unique fine jewelry. It's a great way to show your special someone how well you know them and that you love everything about them. With our amazing selection of colorful gemstones, why not select a style with their favorite color? We have natural sapphires in every color of the rainbow, rubies as red as a rose, topaz as blue as the sky. Or tell your love story with a charm necklace. Choose from dozens of symbolic charms. Get a zodiac charm because your stars are aligned, or a compass charm because you're on a journey together. You could also select an engravable style, like a beautiful locket or a gold bar necklace. We'll inscribe a message on it, a love note to your Valentine. At Shane Company, we have so many easy ways to make your gift more personal. For more ideas, talk to a jewelry consultant today. Your Valentine's Day gift will be a treat.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a great escape. With 35 miles of white sand, there's no better place to get away. So let's explore the secluded beaches of Fort DeSoto or paddle our way around Honeymoon Island. Let's kick back, kayak, and catch crimson sunsets. Let's trade snow boots for bathing suits. Let's make today and tomorrow a beach day. Let's shine. Plan your escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
If today were the last day of your life, would you want to do what you're about to do today? As time marches on, the inescapable movement of the clock can change our perspective on life and our daily purpose. We all get there someday. In recent years, families I work with often ask, "What happens to me, Brian, if something happens to you or you decide to retire?" Every day I ask myself, does this still feel like a purpose that I look forward to, or is this starting to feel like a job? This is Brian Singer with Singer Financial. I feel blessed to still love what I do, but someday my purpose might shift to playing pickleball 24/7. CNBC reports that 73% of financial advisors lack a formal succession plan. That means that nearly 3 out of 4 advisors may be contemplating their own retirement with no transitional support for the clients who may have trusted them for years or decades. Fiduciary advisors put clients' best interests first. At Singer Financial, that means knowing how the individuals, couples, and families we work with will be taken care of for many more years beyond my retirement, unexpected disability, or death. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. I'm excited to share that Singer Financial is now a part of Howard Bailey Financial, an Indiana-based retirement planning firm. We believe our integration with the Howard Bailey team is a giant step forward in our mission to be the last financial team you would ever need or want. Howard Bailey is a growing firm with a youthful, energetic founder and a cutting-edge planning process designed to help you transition into a work-optional lifestyle someday. Call us at 317-852-9153 to schedule a discovery visit and talk about your someday. If you're ready to plan for your best retirement, we should get together.
Investment advisory services offered through registered investment advisors Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, and AE Wealth Management, LLC. Working with Singer Financial cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
A B-Window $2,000 energy-saving credit plus federal tax credit and sale prices on windows, siding, and doors. No payments and no interest for 22 months.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is here. It is the Hammer and Nigel show. Last night we aired the 1978 documentary about the blizzard of 78, an hour-long retrospective. Excellent special from the WIB newsroom that was, I think that one was about 5 years old. We've got a new one airing tonight, Hammer.
So the one tonight, coming up right after our program at 7, is about Bob Ross, Happy Little Trees guy, and his Indiana ties. And we've got Donnie Burgess with us from the WIBC newsroom.
Hey, Donnie.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm a Ball Stater, so I know about the Indiana ties of Bob Ross and the museum that he used to film The Joy of Painting in. It was kind of like a place where if you went to Ball State, you had to see it at least once. Tell me about the special tonight.
Well, I'm glad you said that because this special really is for people who know Bob Ross, who may have heard of Bob Ross, or this is going to be their first time ever hearing the man's name.
Now, that's the guy with like the poofy, like white man afro, and he painted the happy little trees, right?
Big poofy hair, happy clouds, soft-spoken voice. He's been all over public television since the 1980s. This documentary is all about Bob Ross, his life and career, but it's also exploring the aspect of him, as you said, that this has never really been explored in depth like this before, is the Indiana ties. How did the show come to Muncie, Indiana? Why did he stay in Muncie, Indiana? And how is he honored to this day as an adopted Hoosier?
So it didn't originate? His show, did it not originate in Indiana?
His show started at WNVC in Fairfax, Virginia, and you'll get into it in the special a little bit. They were not good. They were not good at what they did, and Bob was ready to pack up and hit the road, and that's when he came into the Hoosier State and found Muncie.
Now, Bob passed away a number of years ago. There was a special, I think it was on Netflix, like a year or two ago, and I watched it, and you leave that special feeling sorry for Bob Ross because it felt like a lot of people around him took advantage of him, and like his immediate family left behind doesn't get a lot of the money that they should probably get. Now, tonight's special, does it include any of that kind of stuff?
So I did not go into some of the accusations or legal things of who owns what or who got left behind or money, things like that.
It seems kind of convoluted.
Well, it's also things that I can't tangibly get my hands on.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to deal with the hard facts here. But what I've done with this special is the Netflix one talked to Bob and those close to him. There's a PBS one that talked to the Bob Ross Company. I had both. I got everyone.
There's a big divide between Bob Ross's family and the Bob Ross Company. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, there's definitely tension there because there's accusations of just things going south with the business and everything, but this one is more of just his career and really the heart of this story is people fighting for a community and fighting for a passion and something they love and cherish and want to pass on to the next generation.
Yeah, isn't it funny? I mean, show business is show business. No matter who it is, it's like this guy, this mild-mannered, very calm, talented guy that somehow became an icon, a beloved icon in the world of public television. And, behind the scenes, it's turmoil.
He was just a man who wanted to paint and put smiles on people's faces. But, at the same time that he may or may not have been dealing with those issues, he's also dying at the same time. He's fighting cancer at the same time. So he lived a tough, and also served in the military for 20 years. He lived a tough life in 52 years.
Did he always have that hair?
No, actually.
How do you put a hat, you put a beanie on that thing and it just disappears? You know what I mean?
He didn't always have it.
Did he have a hat or anything for a disguise? Or he always had that poofy afro?
He could not rob a store anywhere in America. But he...
You're right.
He wanted it at first, and then he realized, oh, God, this is a lot to take care of. I don't want this anymore, but too late. You're iconic now.
That was part of his identity, wasn't it? Was
Absolutely.
That hair?
Absolutely.
Where are Bob Ross's paintings now?
So they're spread all over the place. They have, as Hammer mentioned earlier, at the Bob Ross Experience in Muncie, Indiana, there are paintings there. There are paintings at the headquarters in Virginia. There are paintings in Florida because Bob's son lives in Florida, and there's a Artist Hall of Fame there as well that has some of his stuff. So it's kind of spread all throughout the world.
I wonder if anybody, and you might not know the answer to this question, I don't know, but have any of his paintings been auctioned off for money, or are any of them privately owned? I think, hanging up in somebody's house in Muncie somewhere right now.
I think one popped up online for like $10,000 a couple of years ago. And that's like the last time it had been seen.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
It's hard to find one.
Donnie Burgess is our guest with the WIBC Newsroom. 7 o'clock tonight. It's got a special on Bob Ross and the Indiana ties. What did you learn from this project? What did you learn from putting this documentary together?
I learned how it was still the Wild West of television, and in the sense of you could put almost anything on television, but it had to be good. And you had to fight for it. You had to be really good at it, and you had to have people behind it. And I talked to everyone from the director of The Joy of Painting to the man who signed the deal with Bob to bring him to WIPB in Muncie, Indiana. I spoke to these people who talked about the ins and outs of keeping the show on the air, the drive to keep it on the air, and what I found so fascinating for the people who will listen to this within the borders of Indiana is the real Hoosier drive behind this. I mean, the Joy of Painting does not start in 1983. It starts with the creation of public television in Indianapolis all the way back in the 60s.
Was there anybody that said, we don't want to speak to you about this project?
No, actually, I got almost everyone I wanted except for Bob's son, Steve. And it's not that he was unwilling, but Steve, unfortunately, he had a very bad medical emergency. So he's fighting through that right now. He's doing better. And hopefully he and I will sit down over a paintbrush one day and get to talking.
The WIBC Newsroom, you and Chris Davis, who's no longer with the station, I know he moved back to his hometown, but you guys do an incredible job with these specials. And how long did it take you to put this together and get all the information for this hour special happening tonight?
I started working on this on October 29th.
Wow.
That's how
last year.
Because it was a lot of footwork. It was a lot of shoe leather trying to get people for interviews.
How many days and nights did you have to spend up in Muncie, Indiana, Donnie?
I spent a whole weekend. And really? I traveled through the Ball State campus.
Did you hit the chug, Donnie? Did you hit the chug? Is my fake ID still hanging up at Cardinal Liquors?
I didn't hit the chug, but someone told me about Pizza King that I didn't stop by. So yes. I regret that. But, one thing I would regret not saying is that one of the biggest influences of doing this was I discovered Bob Ross in 2020 because his big bushy hair was right next to WIBC's Terry Stacy in the Indiana Broadcasters Hall of Fame class.
Oh, wow. That's right. I forgot. They went into the same Hall of Fame class together.
Bob Ross was a posthumous induction.
That's right. Okay.
The same.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say Matt Hiblin, our executive producer, because he's kind of rocking the Bob Ross hairstyle, too.
Oh, you should see the Chia Pet in the office.
Hey. All right. One more time, Donnie. What is the special? When can we hear it and all that good stuff?
The Joy of Muncie, Bob Ross in Indiana, tonight at 7 on 93 WIBC. Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon as well. And if you can't find yourself in a car during those times, you can stream it online at WIBC.com.
Donnie Burgess, thank you.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Rob Kendall's going to go off the rails coming up right after a look at the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Another life lost. 27 degrees in downtown Indy, mostly clear on your radar. The low tonight down to 17 degrees. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:29. The January 9th fire on Elwyn Drive has taken another life.
So there were 4 children involved in the fire, 14 years old, 12 years old, 3 years old, and 15 months old. This morning we learned that the 3-year-old child passed this morning.
IFD Battalion Chief Rita Reich says a 15-month-old baby and an adult man also died in that fire. IFD says the 12-year-old boy is still recovering at Riley. The 14-year-old boy has been released. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. 5 former Memphis cops have been charged with second-degree murder. Fox's Gernal Scott reports the body cam footage will be released.
The 5 former Memphis police officers face a myriad of charges in the death earlier this month of Tyree Nichols. The charges include second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and aggravated kidnapping. Shelby County DA Steve Mulroy says soon Memphians will see how it happened.
The city will be releasing the video sometime after 6 p.m. Friday.
The officers could face up to 60 years on the murder charge alone. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
President Biden said today the economy's headed back where it needs to be.
We're on the right track. Roads and bridges are being built. Factories are coming online. People are back to work. Families are breathing just a little bit easier, as my dad would say.
In a speech in Springfield, Virginia, the president also said inflation has been going down the past 6 months. If you own a home in Indiana, you're probably not a fan of seeing your property taxes go up the last few years. Governor Holcomb said Thursday they're trying to get something done at the State House this legislation to stop that.
We're going to get at the root causes of the increases that are occurring. We need to know what is causing it per the taxing units. This is a conversation, we're in close conversation with the House and the Senate leadership and members.
He says he's also trying to make Indiana a more healthy state. If you want to say in who the Colts hire as their next head coach, you might have some luck on change.org. A petition was started on the website this week to not hire Jeff Saturday, who only won 1 game as the interim head coach this season. The petition already has over 2,000 signatures and asks owner Jim Irsay to look elsewhere. There were several reports Wednesday that Saturday was getting a second interview for the job. With traffic at 5:32, here's Matt Bear.
Tough on the outbound, northbound Benford after 75th. That is, let's just say paving and patching right now. Right lane closed, traffic stop and go from East 62nd Street. Inbound 65, that semi-fire is out between 38th Kessler and MLK, but the 2 right lanes are still blocked with traffic absolutely stopped. Back to 38th Street, Kessler Boulevard. Traffic sponsored by Dell Technologies. Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with the tools to do incredible things. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
A few early flurries this evening. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. We'll see lows fall close to 20. Mostly cloudy on Friday. A scattered rain or snow shower possible. It's going to be breezy with highs into the mid and upper 30s. I'm Wish TV. Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
And now, Hammer and Nigel go off the rails with Rob Kendall on 93 WIBC.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is here. Rob Kendall from the Kendall and Casey Show. Indigo off the rails. Rob, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks as always to our segment sponsor, Garage Doors of Indianapolis.
All right, let's start internationally. Joe Biden announcing yesterday sending about 31 Abrams tanks to Ukraine as military aid. Your initial thoughts when you heard this?
Well, I think any intellectually honest person now looks at the continued escalation of this conflict, which is funded in large part by the United States of America with printed money. And you realize the only logical conclusion of this is human intervention. And when we talk about human intervention, we all know the EU is not going to really lift a finger on this. It'll be, as it always is, United States military personnel. I mean, what is the other logical conclusion to what's going on?
It's a slow build, don't you think? Because at first they wanted missiles, and we were like, nah, we're not going to give you missiles. And then they gave him missiles. And now it's tanks. And then it was fighter jets. I mean, if we give them tanks, then they're going to have to train them how to use them. American soldiers are going to have to go over there and train Ukraine soldiers how to use these. It just seems like it's like a frog in boiling water.
Yeah. No, I
Does
think
that make sense? Like it's just, this is a slow build to something and doesn't seem to have an end in sight. Nobody's talking about an end to this.
Well, what has happened with Ukraine is so insulting to America and American taxpayers. I mean, we are a year into this. We have spent tens of billions of dollars. It's about to get a lot more expensive. And we have no idea where that money's actually gone, what the return on investment is for that money. And the crazy thing about this is how little, I always talk about us versus them, right? It's not Democrat versus Republican. It's us versus them. It's the people against the politicians and the ruling class. And this is how little them care about us, that you Democrats and Republicans alike. There's almost no pushback from people not named Thomas Massey or Rand Paul to try to find out where the money's even gone. Nobody cares.
The United States is treating Ukraine like they're this longtime ally, like they're the UK or something here. And due to the slightest little bit of history, it wasn't that long ago that Ukraine was Team Saddam Hussein when the U.S. and Iraq were having a little back and forth here.
Politicians in this country have a sickening lust for the military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
And they have that sickening lust because the military-industrial complex is who props them up and who ensures that these people keep getting reelected. And so what you have is, with printed American money, which is driving inflation, you are escalating this country towards human intervention, which will cost human lives, in order to, as it almost always is, from Vietnam to Iraq and all points in between, about making super rich mega corporations even richer.
All right, so pass me that tinfoil hat.
Oh, here you go.
Right next to
Yeah, there you go.
Put this tinfoil hat on. I firmly believe that the reason the United States is still funding this is the relationship Hunter Biden has with Ukraine. Had this been any other Democrat, I'm not even saying Republican, had this been Gavin Newsom or Pete Buttigieg or even Kamala Harris, do you think the United States would still be pumping dollar after dollar to Ukraine? To me, it feels like the only reason we're doing this is because Biden knows that Zelensky's got him by the short hairs. Well, if you stop sending some aid and fighter jets and tanks and all this stuff over here, maybe news about your idiot son gets out, he goes to jail, and you get impeached.
Yeah, but the problem is the Republicans now have the ability to stop this, and they're not. And not only are they not stopping it in the House, you have people like President Victoria Spartz, who is cheerleading that this continue. This war is not ending. It's not going to end anytime soon. And the only way it will end, the only logical conclusion, and I'm not even sure that gets you to a logical conclusion, but the only logical next or eventual step becomes human intervention. So if you want American troops to go fight and die in another ill-begotten war, which is always the way it works, you just keep cheerleading for never-ending money going to Ukraine, because that's where it ends.
And Nigel and I talk about this all the time. It doesn't make you a bad person for saying, I don't want my money to go to Ukraine, because the American media machine will spin this as, well, you're carrying the water for Vladimir Putin. You're a Putin supporter. No, I've said it before. I hope Putin dies a slow and painful death, probably in his genital region. I hope that happens. But I also don't want all of our tax dollars going to a country that doesn't really like us.
And I'd just like to simply know, what have we gotten for our investment? Like in any other business, okay, we spent X for A, B, and C. A, B, and C produced X, Y, and Z. And so was the cost of X, Y, and Z worth what we gave to it? We don't know. And the reason we don't know is because it's not these people being the Congress and Joe Biden, it's not their money. They just print it. They put it on the backs of future generations. They put it on the backs of the American taxpayer right now with rising inflation. And they don't care about us at all. But we elect these people. Somebody voted for hi, good night, everybody. So you get the government you deserve.
Going off the rails with Rob Kendall here on the Hammer and Nigel show. So let's bring it back a little closer to home. Former midday guy.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Pence. He had some classified documents found at his casa up in Hamilton County. And the report came out today that it's kind of what we already knew. It was nothing damning. It was briefings that somebody would give to him before he took a trip overseas. Nothing completely out in left field, but he still went out of his way to self-report and basically throw a lifeline to Joe Biden here.
Well, and the bigger issue here is Mike Pence went on national television in November And this is what Mike Pence does. He went on national television in November on ABC, and with a holier than thou attitude, because Mike Pence wants to run for president. And Mike Pence recognizes Donald Trump is one of the two hurdles he would have to get past to become the Republican nominee for president, which, if Mike Pence's people were honest with him, which they're not because they're gravy train people, they would tell him, Mike, you have as much chance of being president as Rob Kendall, and he's not running. But he went on national television in an effort to try to get one up on Trump with that smug look on his face and act like he was somehow better than anybody else, and said, oh, no, I've never taken any classified documents. There'd be no reason for me to have classified documents.
But it wasn't a strong no. Like, if you watch that, it sounds like when Nigel's wife asked him, did you have any beers today? No, I never. Like, that's kind of the answer it was if you go back and watch that.
But this is the point, right? It's not that the people have the documents. It's not that he had the documents. It's not that Biden had. Now, the Biden stuff from the Senate is a much bigger issue because there's zero. We had a guy on today who has handled classified documents, NSA, former retired member of the U.S. military, and he talked about senators and how they see these classified documents. I mean, there's zero reason Joe Biden should have had classified documents from when he was a senator.
And there's videos that show his drug addict son leaving the garage door open, taking the vet out, going for rides. The garage is open. Classified documents right there.
Yeah, last night I noticed I'd left the garage door open for a little bit, and I went back out and I peeked out in the garage and I said, wow, I pulled a Hunter Biden. The garage is just open for anyone to waltz right in here. But the point is, when you act like Biden did and like Pence did, that you're better than someone, that someone's committed some egregious party foul here, well, then you deserve all the scrutiny because you didn't say the right thing, which is, things can happen, and maybe I've got some. I don't know, but I don't think I do. I've tried to be as careful as I could, but, who knows? Maybe somebody put a document in a wrong folder. Who knows? They didn't do that.
Here's that Pence audio here.
You take any classified documents with you from the White House? I did not.
Nigel, did you have 10 beers with your buddies tonight? Did not. No.
You take any classified documents with you from the White House? I did not.
It wasn't a strong, hard denial.
Every dude has given that answer at some point in their life.
Hey, you mentioned the GOP primary and polling. We've been talking about polls. What do you make of these polls? Like, there was one poll that just came out that said Trump would trounce DeSantis in a GOP primary in the race for president. A poll last week said the complete opposite.
If you are a person who at this point is putting any weight on polling, I urge you to seek some sort of help as soon as humanly possible, because nobody has any idea, right? It depends on who you get, how you ask the question. You're not going to have any idea of how this race is shaping up until probably August or September, because if DeSantis is smart, he will not get in until August or September because he's not going to have any trouble raising money, and he just needs to keep governing Florida effectively and let Trump continue to just put his foot in his mouth, which we all know he will continue to do.
Did you see Ron DeSantis making the rounds at the Kansas City Chiefs and Jacksonville Jags game?
Kind of a rock star, isn't he?
He was. And he went on the road to support, his Jags from Florida. He's in enemy territory, but people are high-fiving him. They're yelling at him, run for president.
How could you not like Ron DeSantis? I mean, the guy faithfully served his country. He is, by all accounts, he was a prosecutor. He's lived an exemplary life. He's lived a life of service, and you can count on the guy. Ron DeSantis is like the one dude. Last week we got into this with Jim Banks. Like, do you like anyone? Yes, I like Ron DeSantis because Ron DeSantis actually does what he says he's going to do, and he doesn't worry about whose ring finger he's got to kiss or how it's going to play politically. He actually stands up for the people.
Can you stick around for a second segment?
Absolutely.
All right, it's Off the Rails with Rob Kendall. We'll be right back. Hammer and Nigel Show, 93 WIBC.
My partners had told me I should get my knee replaced. I was in my 40s, and I decided that I wouldn't do that.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog, who found regenerative medicine years ago and became a believer.
It changed my life around. It improved me to a point where I was able to jog again.
That's when Dr. Herzog switched his focus from surgery to helping his patients with natural biologics.
I've treated at least 5,000 patients. I believe your body has everything it needs to heal itself.
Today, you'll find Dr. Herzog at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine that can give lasting pain relief with no downtime, no drugs, and no surgery.
I have patients coming up to me that I did 10 years ago saying, Doc, my elbow's still working great. I'm playing tennis 3 days a week.
Call QC Kinetics now to explore alternative ways to deal with your pain. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
Hello, Hammer and Nigel here for your Central Indiana American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro Dealer Absolute Comfort. They specialize in Mitsubishi Electric Ductless Mini Splits. They are diverse systems and can be mounted on your wall or flush with the ceiling, and they heat and cool at a very efficient level. Now, these systems can be used to heat or cool specific rooms without ductwork, which ends up being a very clean way to heat and cool your home, business, or maybe even your garage.
These high-tech units are how most of the world heats and cools their homes and offices. These Mitsubishi electric ductless systems have advancements that can sense when a person is in a room and can warm or cool that room to that person's wishes. For the ultimate in efficiency and comfort, contact Chris Wedekin at Absolute Comfort to find out more. AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro Dealer. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local, family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep Central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Of course I love my parents, I really do, but often felt angry with them because I was always screaming so they could hear me on the telephone. All that has changed thanks to the CapTel phone from Relay Indiana. We're so much better off because now my parents can read what I'm saying on the CapTel caption telephone. Our conversations are pleasant because through voice recognition technology, my words appear to them on an easy-to-read screen right on the telephone. Thanks, Relay Indiana.
Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
Going to the Indianapolis Home Show? Be sure to visit C&J Water in booth 201 to discuss all your home's water quality needs. Plus, get show discounts. C&J Water. See them in booth 201.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for plenty of advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and foundation, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk, presented by Technology Recyclers. Securely destroy electronic data. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of becoming part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org.
Matt Bear has a look at the roads.
Outbound Benford backed up from I-69 past 71st Street. This is because of patching work being done north at 75th. And that right lane is closed. Inbound 65 between 38th Street, Kessler Boulevard, and MLK. A semi-fire has been put out. 2 right lanes still blocked. Stopped back to 38th Street, Kessler Boulevard. It's a crash, Morse at High School Road, and another crash. This one on the south side, Shelby at Troy. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Now get a $2,000 energy saving credit and federal tax credit at B Window, plus sale prices on windows, siding, and doors with 22 months, no interest or payments. BWindow.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
27 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Hello, we're back. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show. Off the Rails Part 2 with Rob Kendall from the Kendall and Casey Show. What were you guys talking about today about TV shows?
So the Sesame Street guy, one of the co-creators of Sesame Street, passed away. He was, I think, 93. And we started talking about what is the most kind of influential or important show that there has ever been. And, so we kind of came up with 3 really criterias that you would judge it by. Longevity, longevity, societal impact, and then total viewers. And so we kind of got on various famous shows and how you would, based on those criteria, where they would land.
And I heard a lot of people say, like, well, Seinfeld, reinvigorated the sitcom. It changed the game, but it wasn't on very long.
Right.
So there's no longevity with Seinfeld. As a matter of fact, they signed off early, which was kind of one of the redeeming parts of the show. Right.
Yeah,
they went out on top.
It never got stale, leaving on a high note. And so if you're thinking longevity, you've got to think like, okay, obviously Sesame Street, you've got to think, but a lot of these soap operas, I mean, The Young and the Restless, General Hospital, The Price is Right, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, all of these, I think when you factor longevity into your equation, have got to be at the top of the list.
The Simpsons, they're the longest running.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Nigel. I know Hammer will agree with me on this. After about the first 8 years, it's basically just complete crap. So do we give credit for 20 plus years of total?
I mean, it's
totally
still
awful?
on the air, though. Like, I would argue that also after the first couple seasons of Sesame Street, there's only so many times you can hear the letter C before it becomes
I
crap.
know, but here's the thing. Whenever I get fired here, I'm going back to community radio. I'll still be on the air. I mean, does it count?
What about 60 Minutes?
Yeah, that's a good point because it technically is.
It's a weekly show. It's not a weekday, but I think that falls in the category.
I think if you take the longevity, and I think your top of the upper echelon have got to certainly be Sesame Street, but also like Jeopardy has got to be in there. I think Wheel of Fortune. You think about still a very popular show, and then one of these soap operas. If we're looking for a Mount Rushmore,
you look at these game shows. Like for so long, it was the same host.
Yeah.
Now I know Price is Right now has Drew Carey, but Bob Barker was, on that thing forever. And look at Pat and Vanna over at Wheel of Fortune. They're still holding it down.
Now, where are we at on South Park? Because South Park does so few episodes now, and I get that it's been on for 25 years and it's still kind of a juggernaut, but they just do so few episodes anymore.
And it's always been on cable. Yeah. And we think everybody has cable and streaming, but that's not the case. I mean, you look at the football games that are just on cable networks compared to the regular networks, it's not even close in terms of the viewership. So I still think there's a lot of people who might not have ever seen a South Park episode.
Yeah, I've not seen it. It's been so long and not intentionally. I just don't have the stuff anymore. Like the PC Principal was the episodes the last time I saw it. So
what about The View? Is The View up there? How long has The View been on TV?
Oh,
just
good Lord.
asking.
Any show in which they say Dr. Joe Biden would make a great Surgeon General really has captured the heart of a nation.
Imagine someone saying that and not being the dumb one on the show.
Yeah, no, yes, absolutely, 100% no. So I thought it'll be interesting to see what calls. We open that up to the voicemail tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of calls we get on that.
What's coming up on the big show tomorrow?
Well, there's a new article out about how Hoosiers are not feeling it for Mike Pence running for president, and they asked me to be in the article, and you know how I hate to say anything negative about Mike Pence, but I said, okay, I'll offer a few tidbits here or there. So we're going to talk about that.
And thanks again to
Garage Doors of Indianapolis, our very fabulous sponsor.
Rob Kendall, he's off the rails.
Thanks, Rob.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Someday I'll have a disappearing hairline. Someday I'll wear pajamas in the daytime. Times when the day is like a play-by-side truck, when it seems the bombarding's in perfect order. Like I gave the doctor my description, I've tried to stick to my prescriptions. Someday disappearing hairline. Someday I'll wear pajamas in the daytime. Afternoons will be measured measured with coffee spoons and tears Elliott.
5.5%. Where can you get 5.5% on your money today? You're certainly not going to get it at the bank.